right. David, speak.
All right, speak, speak, speak,
Hell yeah. Okay,
speak,
so
speak, speak, speaking.
I gotta fix my name on here. I gotta figure out a better way to do all this. Um,
All right, testing one more time, just so I can
check the
make sure I
audio. Are
sound
you listening
decent.
to it right now?
Yeah.
Check. Talk. Hell yeah.
Weirdly, it's just spinning for me right now. I don't know why it's
Oh,
just spinning.
weird. Okay, hold up. Uh,
Crazy A Pepperoni. One agreed. Shout out to Burly Legs, but you and Kels, are you guys
I
seeing the
can
stream
I
like
can hear
normal
it.
right now?
Yeah, I want to know.
They can hear it. All right.
Yeah, this is you.
Oh, weird. It stopped buffering for me just now. All right. Fuck. All right, not gonna question it. YOLO.
What's up, Kels? Yeah, shout out to Broly Legs. That sucks. Uh, legitimate, like, so cool to see someone just defy, like, all right, I have to play this way. Nah, I'm gonna do it my way. Let's just get into this then.
I'm on in.
Welcome to the Blueberries Podcast, episode number 247. I'm Adrian. That's David.
We are 3 away from 250.
Jesus. Did you, just speaking of, because you always make a We're Alive joke, did you support their Kickstarter yet?
Not yet. I have it set to remind me when it gets close because I usually like to kind of make sure I'm set for it. Which, granted, I got a fat fucking return thanks to buying an electric car.
Hell
But
yeah.
still, I like to wait until the last second.
Please
just to make
do.
sure.
They're like only like halfway through, I think. Let me check real quick. Shout outs to We're Alive, the zombie radio drama. They have
Story of survival.
Yeah, they have a Kickstarter for their final season. Let me see, where is this at? There we go. And they are at 51,000 out of 90,000 needed. 17 days left. That doesn't look hot. I love these guys though.
No.
So hopefully they get a big second win.
Is it on Flex or all in one?
I didn't know you could change things on Kickstarter.
Yeah, Kickstarter does have an option for Flex rewards.
No, it's all or nothing.
Womp.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. Check that out. Highly support kickstarting that if you're out there and like radio stuff. Throw them a few bucks on that Kickstarter. I mean, all their podcasts are free if you want to download them. They got some ads on them, but they're not intrusive. I ran through the ads when we first started listening. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, and we were heavily involved in that for a while. In fact, we got to go to be part of the crew and behind the scenes for the original finale to the series.
Dude, the fucking driving I had to do in LA to get us that router just so they can go live when we needed to was obscene. I definitely broke some laws driving, but I mean, I'm a Californian, so like, I knew what to do. I forgot you went with me, didn't you?
Yeah, it was you, me, and Jordan.
Yeah, us three. I was like, fuck it, let's go. And I was like, there was one time I remember the ending part because that was the scary part. Where it was like I kind of killed it. I was like, all right, cool. We got in there. We swear we just found like an impeccable spot for Best Buy because it was an underground parking lot. Ran up there, got it, and then wasn't it like they had like only a display piece or something like that? That was like the last one. So we managed to yank that, and then we left, and it was rush hour traffic. So it's like 5 p.m. And it was a long line for the light, and you could tell it was one of those lights that just like let only a few cars in at a time, and all we needed to make is turn, but like it was so long, and it was like opposite ends, like it was like a two-way roads on each side, but like there was not leeway for you to like just like it wasn't those long turns for you to like turn signal it. It was like a short one, and so I remember I think we went through like one or two of those lights. And I was like, fuck it, we just have to go. So I drove on the wrong side of the road just to haul it up into the light because like again, it was like no, it was like free. It was easy money if you just like hit there right there. Like there's no one was turning,
Yeah.
but like just there was a long line to go straight, and so I just hauled my all right, fuck it, and just wrong side, fuck it. And then I remember I grabbed I pulled it out and started running, and people were like cheering and clapping for us as we ran in.
Dude, I still to this day will live with the thought of that random woman that just chased us down to be like, your black lights are on.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other story for me.
I still will never like. I need to understand still.
I told
what
that
the
story.
Fuck she was talking.
I told
about.
that story to the girlfriend when we were in LA. I was like, I don't understand. Perry said, "Do they have 139 episodes? I see a playlist for it on YouTube. Yeah, it's 4 seasons. Every episode's like a 3-parter. I think originally, right? They're 3 parts per each episode. But yeah, they're broken up fine. And then there's more to it now. So there's We're Alive: A Story of Survival, which is 4 seasons. There's We're Alive: Gold Rush, We're Alive Lockdown, and then We're Alive Descendants, which is the sequel series. Gold Rush is kind of Gold Rush Gold Rush is a sequel too?
Yeah, that one was kind of like a side sequel that was also played out like a tabletop RPG.
Yeah, and then Lockdown was a in the middle of that. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. And my
you need to just
regular
kickstart it. Like
series.
you need to kickstart it. And it's also like a high probability it's not gonna work out, so you should do that.
I also have my sign posters by the cast downstairs.
Yeah.
Keep that up in the living room.
That was fun. First time I ever drank.
Yeah, that was also the first time I feel like in retrospect mistakes were made, but that was the first time Jordan had shots as well.
I don't think so. That wasn't the first time. He definitely had
impression
drank
he
before.
gave.
No. He definitely drank before. I think he just drank mild things because the night before, because you made it, you missed the convoy night. So
yeah,
story. I know we're off. This is a video game podcast. They had the finale live in person in LA. I helped out a little bit behind the scenes, nothing major. I was on like 1 episode of We're Not Dead. They're like fan talk show podcast. Think of like Talking Dead and stuff like that. But they had a convoy, so like there was a bunch of super fans were gonna go, and there was what they called a convoy because again it's a lot of military based in LA stuff, so appropriately named convoy. Coming from Canada, and they just kind of like went down the states and picked up the fans that were going. And so by the time they were getting there, they were like maybe a night or 2 away. Excuse me. And they had like maybe 5 or 6 people, I think I want to say with them, maybe more.
Yeah.
And they were driving through where I'm at, and I was like, oh yeah, just crash here. That's when I lived alone, and I had a 2-bedroom apartment. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So they crashed here, and that's when Jordan came down as well. And I'd never drank alcohol before, but we're hanging out there with everyone else, feeling good. I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's try one. And then we played that Mario Kart drinking game, the one where you're supposed to like slam the drink before you're done driving.
Yep.
But I forget the name, but it got me like right away, right? Because my first time, and even Jordan, who is a connoisseur of drinking, to say the least. He also got that. He's like, what was that? He's like, I never get this buzz this quick, and it's because they homebrewed their own. And the girl's like, oh yeah, no, I made that. Like, that's the stuff. I'm like, oh, and yeah. And then they left, and then David flew in the next day, and we kind of we hung out for like 1 day, I think, and then just took off right away after that.
Yeah, because I remember, did Jordan come down before, or was it that we were waiting on Jordan because he took the train down?
No, Jordan was there.
Okay, so he was already there.
Yeah.
So remember, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you came in late. You were like kind of the last second. Yeah, and that was a fun trip because you knew Jordan, but you didn't really know Jordan. Like you kind of like that was your first like bonding trip.
Yeah.
But
it was also the first time we hung out, technically, actually.
Yep. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Was it you?
So also bitter that when they're like, all right, we're gonna give away an award and a prize to whoever traveled the furthest, my dumb ass was like, I came from Maine, perfect,
Oh yeah.
I got this. Fucking some fan from Sweden's like, I'm here. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, you're not getting that. What was it? I forget who said it. So they had a meet and greet at a bar, the night before. And again, that was my second time drinking, and I remember I had taken a handful of shots, and I'm just standing there in the middle of the bar room, like kind of just standing there. I forget who it was. It was you or Jordan. I forget who. Like, hey, what's up? I'm like, oh, nothing. And I forget what we're talking about. And I was like, bro, the bartender's hella cute, like super super cute. I forget, and it was one of you guys, whoever said, just goes, yeah, go talk to her, get her like a number or something. I'm like, can't. And you're like, why? It's like, my feet are wobbly. And you're like, oh, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just gonna not be wobbly for a little bit. And you're like, all right, cool. And just walked off.
Gotta be honest, I don't remember much of that bar night. I just remember from the bar, I remember we met the dude who was basically wearing the same shirt I was, and we got us into a picture together.
Oh, did we not save
And then
that?
I have it saved still.
Oh yeah, please send that to me, because I vaguely remember that, but it's like unlocking something in my brain right now.
And then I remember that when we first got there, Angel's actor was there, hanging out with Tanya's actress, and there was like a weird kind of like hush of like, isn't it kind of awkward? Because like there was like something going on with him and Casey at the time,
Right.
where we were like, oh, should he be here?
Do you remember the post show bar hangout afterwards? We went to some
We went to a lot of bars.
we went to some
afterwards.
restaurant. Yeah, we were like walking around like Sunset Boulevard like at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I remember. But there was a place on there, and I remember Jordan was eating food and looks, and he's like, yo, that girl is so hot. And like some girl, like there were 2 girls walking, and they're like, Jordan, so talk to him. And he's like, no. I'm like, yeah. So I just grabbed him, we yanked him, and we walked outside and kind of walking there, and they're at the corner, we're at the corner, and then Jordan walks up and then immediately turns around and just like beelines it back. I'm like, and I had to like catch up to him because how fast he was. I'm like, what happened? He's like, I saw her face.
Oh.
I'm like, bro.
Oh. Jesus.
All right.
I do not remember that.
Yeah. Well, you weren't there for that one. That was just me and him. I don't know if I've told you that story or not. I know I have to tell that story. Yeah. That was that was a time. We're Alive, super cool. Everything they have is like quality. Like I think the first couple of episodes are a bit rough, but also like you don't really mind because of the novelty of it. Like it's so cool that you're seeing something like that happen. And then eventually like, it picks up, and then for sure by like, dude, like the end of season 1, you're like in. There's like no way you're not in by the end of season 1. But yeah, really cool set of characters, really really well done writing. The whole cast is just super chill, super fun. David,
Yo.
how's your week been?
It's been Microsoft Patch Week, so been doing a lot of patches. Aside from that, got a new couple bits of fucking whatchamacallit there. Butcher blocks to make a new table with.
Nice.
Because buying pre-made tables is fucking expensive now. So I was like, fuck it, we'll just get butcher blocks and... oh no, I didn't save that! Fuck! I thought I did! Oh, that's so shitty. I have all other pictures from that, but...
I don't remember that at all.
Fuck, I thought I still had that picture saved, but I'm so pissed at myself for not saving that one. I thought I did.
I don't remember you saving it.
Because there's another dude in like a black and white striped t-shirt like I was wearing. And you're like, hold on, we gotta get a picture of this. And so I put on the photobomb face that I was using the whole week.
You know what? I might have it. Let me check real quick. I don't think I do, but let me double check. David, keep talking while I look.
Yeah, here. I'm gonna also just in case send over a couple of the other pictures that I do have from that trip.
Okay.
Right on over to you, just in case.
Got it.
But yeah, so fucking hey, it's one of those things where A lot of people talk about the dangers of meeting people online and all the horrible shit that does unfortunately happen to folks. It's kind of fucking good that I've had the best.
Oh no, I
luck
got it.
with
I got it. I got it. I got it. All right, cool.
All right, you do still have that picture? Yeah.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
I don't remember that at all. Yeah. All right.
No, we were fucking toasted.
I try my best to like be the documentarian of a lot of things. So if you're trying to have a low key weekend and not get yourself in trouble, please tell me ahead of time. Otherwise, I will document it.
Man.
Anyway, patch week and all that stuff.
Yeah, so patch week and all that. We played a little bit of the Tekkens finally.
Yeah, we'll get to games in a second.
Yeah. Otherwise than that, I mean, that's all. Oh, I've started up a tabletop project again finally. One of the projects that I wanted to do this year and have that be my focus for this year, for a creative outlet, I just fell through. All the parts I needed to have make it happen just wasn't going through. So I decided to say, fuck it. I'm just gonna go ahead and start with a project that I don't need to rely on anyone else for. And so I'm working on a tabletop project. I'm recycling an older idea of mine. And what I'm doing is just completely shrinking the scope of it down. Just going to start it as like a miniatures combat game just to get it built.
Okay.
Then from there, build it out into a full tabletop RPG, but at least make sure that I effectively do have a complete finished product in some form, and then I can, take as much time as I want to flourish it and build it out. But I'm designing everything. I have like 15 pages of material written up for it so far, and I am also starting to learn how to do pixel art. So I can also do all the artwork for the game myself, and do it all in just a good old 16/32-bit style.
Kel says, I just got into the new Star Wars trading card game. Don't get me second to tabletop next.
Bro, I try to convince anyone and everyone that will open an ear to get into tabletop RPGs. I have been a forever DM since my teen years. The curse of being a
one day
Gothic theater kid.
You're gonna play Baldur's Gate 3. And you're gonna love it.
I mean, maybe one day. I almost was tempted to grab that deal for the Japanese version, but the Japanese version's censored, so I didn't ultimately grab it.
Dude, you know what just sucks because you're gonna love it.
Oh, 100%. Because from everything I've seen, it seems like the closest we've gotten to in video game form, effectively feeling like tabletop.
Which also, funny DSP moment. One of the characters, I don't know, I don't want to get into spoilers because I'm trying to keep it. I'm eventually gonna get to it, but I guess one of the characters left. He got full raged because the character, when they left, they took all their gear with them. And so I guess he packed that dude with like all like his really good stuff, and the dude walked off, and he was pissed. He's like fucking livid about it. He's been just ranting and raving about how stupid the developers are for doing that. And one of the people was like, "Do you expect him like to strip naked and give you a stub?" He's like, "Yeah." I don't know. Nice. Anything else you've been up to?
Got new shelves.
Hell yeah.
Got new shelves. Got them mostly set up here. Oh, I mean, I do have them set up now. So now this section behind me is just PlayStation and Nintendo stuff. Then I have my various computer games, Windows, Microsoft, MSX, etc. Then Xbox, and then the everything else shelf over there. And then I bought two 18 terabyte hard drives that should be in tomorrow for the server, because I am out of room on my server, so I need more. I finally fucking got it. I got my order in for the RetroTink 4K.
Nice.
So that's $750 that I cried as it left my wallet, but
yeah. That sucks, but
luckily,
you'll love it.
Income tax was beefy, so
I need to do mine to see what the damage is this year.
I got just about 4K this year.
Yeah, I mean, you don't usually get money back though, right?
No, I usually do, but it was just $3,000 of it alone was just because of
Yeah,
tax credits for my car.
yeah, I break even a lot now, which is why I don't really care to do it. Uh, One of the students saw my phone and said I had a reminder to pay taxes. He's like, you have a reminder to do that? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I just do mine right away. I was like, yeah. Well, back in the day when I made money off doing that, I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I did it immediately. So I get that tax return like right away. But now I'm like, whatever. I'll do it whenever I get it. All right, I have a couple of funny stories before we start getting into the gaming
Hell
proper.
yeah.
One, well, what's super good news that assuming nothing bad happens, I get the first wave of my equipment for my film students. So we got some beefy 4K cameras, bunch of microphones and sets there. So I'm excited for that. So oh,
Microphone. That was one of the things I meant to do when I got my income tax money.
okay. Put a reminder to after podcast. Let's talk and let's do a little
Yeah,
like
I will
research,
put a reminder for after podcast.
Yeah, we'll do that. But yeah, so we got the first wave, and then I started emailing about that second wave because no one's ever responded back to me. It's like, hey, can we get info on that? So they're gonna hit me up with that. So one of the teachers there is retiring. He's been there for 25, 6 years, whatever. And he has a bunch of old AV stuff, so like VCR and stuff like that. He's like, would you like any of this? I'm like, yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, and he's like, okay. He's like, well, just like, what do you want? I was like, how about this? I'll make it easy for you. Whatever you don't want, give to me. And worst thing is, I'll sift through it, and if I don't want it, I'll toss it over the summer. But like, save yourself all the hassle. Just literally wheelbarrow it all. What you did, wheelbarrow it all to like to my classroom, and I'll take whatever. Because especially VCRs, VCRs are expensive as shit now.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Fucking dumb.
I didn't know that. So yeah, I'm keeping that hell.
The reason why is because there's two key factors. One, there's been another major boom in nostalgia.
Well, yeah, VHS style is just big now.
And the other reason is it's becoming one of the best ways to decode consoles that are still stuck with the RCA cables.
Interesting.
So a lot of people will go ahead and get a VCR that has the RCA in, but does composite out.
Interesting. Yeah, so he has a bunch of just random stuff like that, including two like in 2008 would have been baller ass camcorders. Now they just make everything look like I mean, in retrospect, they make it look like the 90s. It's not like it's more like early 2000s or 2000s, right? But like, and it's cool too because like those kind of cameras retain their value in a way. Like if to buy it right now is like a $200 camera, because it's like it's a pretty solid one, but like it's just not in production. But I was showing them, the students fucking loved it. Like they were having so much fun just recording on those things, which made me kind of nostalgic, right? Because I would do a lot of that stuff with the viewfinder stuff like that, right? Yeah, a couple of funny moments. One, I gave them the cassette tape that was in the holder, and he just like plays with it for like 15 seconds. Like, I don't know how to open this. I'm like, all right, hold on, crack it open. They're just like amazed by it, especially when you pop open like a camcorder. It does like the whole like the little tape like. They get all hyped for all that stuff. So they actually they want to make a found footage film with those camcorders, which I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Yeah, you'll kill it with those. And then for our esports stuff, I mentioned like a couple weeks ago, I lost, and I'm trying to rationalize in my head. I'm like 25% there, and I'm like, we should have won that. I like there was 0% reason we should have lost. We could have won, but and that was 100% on me. And this week we had a big game, and I'm super proud for one of the boys because he's never been eligible. He was ninth grade. He's a sophomore now, and to be eligible, you got to have a 2.0 at least and no Fs. He's just never eligible. He'll have like usually like 1 or 2 Fs. And he didn't really care last year, but this year he really wanted to play, and then he lost eligibility, and then there's a whole story with that, but we really encouraged him, and then he wanted to grind it up, and he saw how much tougher it was for us because he's our second best player, and he's really good. He can beat me pretty often. And he grinded up and he got himself eligible, and so he has his first game yesterday, and it was against one of the teams that I'm worried about the most. And they have a player who's so full of himself. You can just tell again, like when you play a game for a long time and you can see what their play style is, you can tell a person's characteristics almost by how they play. Uh, so he does a lot of dumb things, but like in a really smart way that work a lot of time, and he knows he's full of it. They had on Smash you could do like a passcode when you create a lobby, which is what all players do, and he made his in the shape of an L. Yeah, so I'm like, and I knew, and I saw, and they played our B team, and the dude was swagging on some of our B team players, and like I understand, like, I get it, I know why he's getting away with some stuff, but I'm like, and he had like 100% win ratio with like 5 different characters. He just literally just keeps playing different characters and just like wins all the time. He actually lost one game I just noticed recently, but he has literally like 100% win ratio with like 5 or 6 characters.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I was like worried about this guy, and no one knows who he was. So I'm like, all right. And so I was hyping my boys up. I'm like, all right, guys, we got to get ready. Like, this is a big one. If we lock this in, we have 2 matches tomorrow, and we're done, and we're chilling for playoffs. And again, I'm pretty upset about myself for the loss, because if we had won that one, our seed would be pretty rock solid right now. But our seed's kind of eh. But the way I told them, and I felt good that they agreed with me. But the way I said it was like, look, we're the best team. We're reigning champs. We're the best team. If we lose before playoffs to another team, then we didn't deserve it. Like, sucks. But like, and they're like, yeah, like we're the best. So if we're losing out, we're not going for second. We're going for first. So it's like,
Yeah.
if we don't get first, then fuck it. Not a bad way, right? Like I'm trying to keep motivating, but like trying to keep our spirits up. Like, we're grinding it to the end, and if we have like the best team, which I'm worried about, I'm worried about the number 1 team. But like, because I see the team, and it's funny because it's my old high school, so I have a little bit of like buy-in on that, because we eliminated them from last year, and they got some fucking they got some grinders, dude. Their whole team are just like doing nothing but playing this game and grinding that. Like, you could tell. And so I got like a little buy-in on that. I'm like, ooh, I would love to just like keep knocking out my old high school. Just would love to. But anyway, so we got to that, and the boy who came in to finally get eligibility, he beat that guy, and then I said like, all right, cool, let's keep it running, and I sent my best player in there, and he beat them, so we just demolished that guy's record just in that one game. We're like, all right, cool, you ran in there looking so good, and my school just fucking sat on your record and said, all right, hold on, nah, let's fix that before we wrap into finals there.
Fucking hold these L's real quick.
Yeah, dude. Oh, it felt good. April's a fucked up month. Which we're gonna have to figure out, because I'm gonna be gone a chunk of times. We'll figure out recording schedules here, but April's weird. So I'm gonna be gone the end of March, early April on spring break trip. The middle of April, I have a concert, and then I have the esports finals that weekend. Next week, I have I have to go chaperone for their prom. I have something else, and then I have to chaperone a trip to Colorado that I might have to come back to, and then do a film fest. I don't know. It's the next month is wonky. That's like my February for you, so we'll figure out how that works. I was gonna say one more thing. Does not matter anymore. David, what'd you get this week?
What did I get this week? All right. We actually got a couple things here. Snagged this for a couple bucks. A weird, fun Japanese action horror kind of exclusive called Vampire Panic. I got it predominantly because I'm a fan of the artist behind the game, Hamer. They have a very distinct style that I've been a fan of since my teen years.
Hey.
Very, very much got it basically for that.
So,
go ahead.
I forgot to mention, I watched Mad Max Fury Road in theaters again.
Yep.
Fucking amazing, dude. I got home from me and the girlfriend went out for breakfast, ran some errands. She had to go do some more stuff, and I was like, all right. I was like pants off. I laid in bed. I'm like, I'm gonna take the fattest fucking nap right now. I am so ready to sleep. And then I got a message from a friend that I haven't seen in a long while. It's been a couple years, and they just messaged me out of nowhere like, "Hey, what are you doing in an hour?" And I was already prepping my excuses because I was like, "All right, it wasn't an excuse, but right." But I was like prepping like my realistic excuse, which was like, "Well, I'm gonna be doing work and stuff, but what's up?" And it just sends me a pictures. Hey, Mad Max Fury Road's in theaters. I got extra tickets. Going on in an hour. You down? I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I'm good. Whatever I was saying, don't worry about it. But I was like sleepy, so I'm like, I gotta micro nap it, and it was tough because I was super tired, and I wasn't about to fall asleep during Mad Max. So I slept. I was gonna sleep 15 minutes. I overslept by 30, but I hauled ass and made it there in time. And dude, oh my god, what a fucking incredible movie! It's just like it's. Have you ever been reminded of a movie why a movie's like your favorite of all time? Like, hey, real quick, this is why you. It's same like with video games. Like, this is why it's one of your favorites. Dude, it's just seeing it on the biggest screen. Put that on. Like seriously, as soon as it hit credits, I'm like, can we just start it over? Like, that's fine. I don't give a shit. That's great. I was so cheesing the entire. Dude, I was cheesing the entire time. It's gorgeous as fuck. We're gonna get Furiosa, so I'm hoping we'll see it in theaters again. I don't see why it wouldn't be in theaters. It's been 9 years, so they'll probably want to be like, hey, here's the other movie. Go watch that. But man, and I was like, cool. He bought my ticket, so I was like, cool. I'm gonna go in there. I'm like, all right, you know what? I got myself Reese's Pieces. Got myself a giant ass slushie. I'm like, let's just go. I almost bought myself a pizza too, but a little overkill. Furiosa might be my first Mad Max movie. Oh my god, dude, Fury Road. You gotta watch Fury Road. Fury Road's so incredible. Like, imagine like the best chase scene, but it's the entire movie. That's really it. Like, just imagine the best chase scene of all time, and it's just the entire movie. And like, you think it's done, and then they're like, "All right, no, let's keep doing it." I was telling my my students because I was telling my friend because he's like, I know how much you talked about this movie back in the day, so you're the first person that popped up in my mind when I'm like, all right, cool, this is there. I'm like, wonderful. So I pulled up my form I had my film students do when I first met them at the beginning of the year, and the last question I asked was, is Mad Max Fury Road the best directed action movie of all time? Options: yes or very yes. And they're like, and it was a mandatory question you had to answer. And they're like, why are you making us answer this? I'm like, I don't know, like, just answer the question. But now they know how much I love that movie because I have a poster of it and everything. And I was telling them, they saw how they got happy for me, which was sweet. They were like excited for me because I was like, yeah, it was so cool. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play a scene from that, and it was one of the coolest moments because I played it, and like, teens who are addicted to their phones, just, you could play the coolest thing ever, and like, it'll go over at least one of their heads. I swear, maybe I'm being biased, my eyes just honed in, but like, I played it, everyone stopped and just watched. I'm like, this is good. This is good shit. I was like, I'll probably play I can't play the whole movie, which is unfortunate. But I was like, I'll play segments of it. We'll watch some of it. So I'm gonna play the intro for them tomorrow, just because the intro scene is so good, so fucking good.
Did you see the Furiosa trailer today?
It might have been the one that was playing yesterday. That probably makes sense, right? Well, they
that would make sense, but I know at least on YouTube it dropped it while I was at work today. Fucking fantastic.
Let me go look real quick. There's not a bad Mad Max. I stand by that. Let's go.
Mad Max 2 was fine. Mad Max 3 is not a good movie. It's a fun movie, but it's not a good movie.
Is this the... I don't know if this is the one or not. Let me check real quick.
Alright.
No, actually, it's a brand new one. I don't like to watch second trailers, though, so I'm good.
Fair.
Oh, dude, I'm so fucking excited, though. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
you know me. There's a couple of things I'm gonna die on the hill if I need to talk about and get on my soapbox for. Mad Max Fury Road's one of them.
Always.
Which we're gonna talk about that today. Our topic, which I didn't mention, top 10 games, because I would like to gush with David about just random ass shit.
Hell yeah. And I'm curious to see how many we both have on our list.
How much you had 10, and I know to preface this way ahead of time, I know we're gonna talk about it in a little bit. That David's can is very flexible. It's not like a stern lock and load. There's like, Like I have some HMs on here too that I would probably put on any given day, just depending on my mood. Like the last couple can be like, okay, we can walk, we can rock around those. But yeah, David, sorry, show off with more stuff you
No,
got.
it's all good. Managed to snag this for a couple bucks. The Ship for PC.
Hell yeah.
Always glad to get just kind of neat, weird little novelty games. I got these next few games as part of a giant lot. I paid $7 for the lot and got a metric fuck ton of sports games with it, as well as a metric fuck ton of copies of fucking Destiny on PS3. I didn't have Destiny on PS3, so I'm keeping one of them because fuck it, why not?
Hell yeah.
But it was kind of nice getting this lot because there's one game that I wanted this lot for, and I managed to get it for the $7. But by getting the whole lot, I used all the sports games to fix my fucking 360 collection up a bit and make sure I had nice, clean cases on the rest of the games I actually give a fuck about.
Right.
Yeah, Destiny was originally on PS3 and 360, and then also got modern console releases for the time. Modern console releases. But yeah, so I'm excited that I got that lot because I will now go and sell all those sports games and those extra copies of Destiny, and if at worst, I will break even with this. But then the other game I got as part of that lot is Fight Night Round 3.
I hate the platinum
don't know
hits
why.
fucking on Xbox. It's so gross.
It is gross. Yeah, it is gross. I got nothing to say, but I do weirdly like the occasional boxing game now and then. So that's why I'm holding on to that, even though I don't usually do sports games. But
Yeah,
the real banger, the real reason I got this lot is because I saw this like hiding towards the bottom of the stack in the picture, and I'm like, that goes for like $15 by itself. Usually, I want that. And I'm trying to get all of the Xbox versions of these just because they are a higher res than the PS2 version. Even though the PS2 version, you have the expansion pack games that extend out the capabilities, but I want them on Xbox. And we got the glory that is Dynasty Warriors 3
Nice.
for original Xbox.
what was the Gamers has a Dino Crisis 3 on Xbox. They at least had it a while back, and I almost bought it. But I didn't because it's not a good game.
I mean, it's I enjoy it. It's not great, but I still enjoy it.
Fair.
Speaking of some games that are not great, I got a lot of games off of a friend at work. My boss, unfortunately, convinced him that he should actually sell the games to me as opposed to just giving them to me.
And that's fair.
That is fair, but he was perfectly willing to just hand me a giant. Like, he came in with a massive box of games, like this fucking big.
I
and he was prepared
understand.
to just give them.
I understand.
And then my boss is like, "No, you should charge them." And I'm like, "Oh, if I'm paying, I don't want any of this." So I went through the list and I was very particular about what I wanted. And then I still undercut him a little bit fairly because I'm like, I'm still buying bulk. If I'm buying a shit ton of stuff
don't say
I did,
undercut. Like I think it's you guys are just haggling a price.
okay, undercut's an unfair word.
Because I think undercut means like undercut seems
discount.
malicious, right?
Fair. A bulk discount. If I'm buying the amount of games I did, I'm going under the value because of the convenience of it. But I bought a lot of games just so I could have them complete in box. I'm not showing them off here. But to write them off real quick, I got Disney's Aladdin for Genesis complete in box now. Sonic 1 complete in box now. Shaq Fu complete in box now. And there was like 2 other ones that they're escaping me right now for being complete in box now. But on top of that, fucking Digimon Rumble Arena, I now have complete in box again now. But on top of that, we also got Crisis. We got Command & Conquer Red Alert 3.
Nice.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3, all nice and minty complete in box.
Just like that movie.
Exactly. Mega Man X4, which, man, the difference in price between the fucking greatest hits version and the non is wild. I didn't think the non went for that much more, but whew. And then lastly, the big cream of the crop of this lot here, Bushido Blade 2.
Nice.
Nice and minty. Well, not minty. It's got couple cracks.
So
in it,
wait,
but
are
still
you
very
getting?
nice
Are you
clean
getting?
box.
Did you already get the big ticket item stuff or no?
I'm still waiting on the stuff from my other work buddy that's still giving me free shit. He still has
Oh,
3
so
more
there's multiple
boxes
people
at
just
home to
giving
go
you
through.
free shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, then you deserve to get charged. Fuck you.
yeah. So my other work buddy, and technically it wasn't free. I was a man of my word, and I gave money to a charity he wanted me to
All
support.
right.
So I gave $100 to charity.
Hey, speaking of your
for
boss,
the
tell your boss to
$500
go
of
look
games
for
he gave me so
video
far.
games.
Hmm?
Tell your boss to go look for video games in his attic.
He has most of them. He just has to finish sorting through them. He has a baby that's like due any day now, so he's kind of got
Oh,
other things going on.
I got excited because you said he has a baby, and I thought you meant like he has like I think you meant like a grail for a second. I was like, oh, what game? I don't.
No,
assume
he has a
things-
small spawn that's due any day now.
Mm,
So
okay. Anything else, David?
show those off last week. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's everything that has come in.
Just on a side note, David and I did a off stream where we were hanging out playing tech, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Oh yeah.
Did our little give our key gift game exchange, but like this one worked out
Yes.
how we would imagine the first one should have, which is we just didn't have the majority of them, like the mass majority of them. I only had one versus how last time we did it, I had probably like 80% of them. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, digital games. Let's see. That Steam sale is going on, so shout out to Steam. I got a handful of games off that, including. Let's see, what did I get off here? Oh, I did get I got the Battlefront collection. Granted, it was also
Gross.
it was also on the humble discount, so I don't feel really bad about it. I got pretty cheap, and I'm assuming eventually it'll be okay. Now, I will say, I forgot to mention last week, I hopped on launch night, and I played a solid number of games. It wasn't that bad. So when I woke up next morning and saw how everything was on fire, I don't know. I was like, oh, I even know. So,
Yeah, well, also, way to fucking. This is like the third time Asper Media has gone ahead and
Aspire,
done something
yeah.
kind of sketchy.
yeah, they are not solid. That's why they got the KOTOR remake taken away from them. It literally, like, I don't know how your base game is bigger, like by an increasingly large amount of gigabytes.
Also, they have now been caught basically stealing community mods and putting it into the game. After, which I forgot all about this, way back when they first showed off, they had trailer footage used that showed off community mods, and a lot of people are like, wait, that's not part of the original game. And like, oh, we were just testing things. Don't worry about that. It'll be 100% the real base game when it comes out with fully credited content. And a few mod developers have been like, bro, you fucking put my mod in your retail game. What the fuck?
Give me money.
So, no, none of them even want money. I mean, one, because they couldn't, in theory, charge money for it. But it's just the fact that they supposedly released the game with full credits to any altercations to the game. And a lot of mod developers are like, bro, that's my fucking work you put in your game. Where's my credit? Where's this? We're crediting the people that behind all this.
Right.
So I'm officially never going to touch anything Asper again because fuck off.
I don't imagine they'll make it past this. I think I can imagine they might fix it, or it might get shipped off to another company to fix it up. I could see the Battlefront collection is going to be fixed at some point. I could see it being one of those games.
We can hope.
I could see it being one of those games where it's going to be kind of tinkered with, and like a year from now it'll be fine. I say, and as someone actually, surprisingly enough, I didn't really play Battlefront when I was growing up. It was, again, all I needed was Halo 2. All I needed was Halo 2. Like, genuinely, that's kind of the. You right?
Dude, I don't remember. Did I ever share with you Insignia?
Oh yeah. Oh no, you didn't share it with me. I know of it though.
Yeah, they just launched their fucking Halo 2 servers.
Yeah. I got a Facebook post about that. I need to set it up my Xbox now.
If you set that up, I am down to play at some point. some fucking original Halo
If
2 Xbox.
if
Let's
as
go.
again, my attention span and how I like things at the best convenience I can. So if you want to spend like a weekend and help me walk through how to do that to my Xbox, I'm down.
Yeah,
I
that's fair.
feel a little weird about it sometimes because it's my Xbox. It's like if anything happens to that, I'd be really upset.
That's fair.
So I might try to buy it.
Have you replaced the capacitors in yours yet?
No, it's been working fine still. Like
You still need to do that. My
Yeah.
God. That's like the number one thing that's a ticking time bomb for original Xboxes. The capacitors and the
again,
battery thing.
to,
I can't remember.
tell me how and where to figure that out, and we'll do that.
Find someone that you know that knows how to do soldering very well. And then there's specific capacitors you have to basically desolder, rip out, and replace completely.
Yeah, unfortunately, gamers would do that, but they don't have someone there anymore doing that, so we'll figure it out. But we'll walk it through and figure something out.
Yeah, I'll send you stuff about it later. But yes, if this is your first time hearing about this, and you are a collector of the original Xbox, all original Xboxes are ticking time bombs. The number one failure issue for them is they're known for having capacitors leak and erode the motherboards. So if you are, as far as you're aware, have a completely stock original Xbox that has had no work done to it, either yourself, if you're comfortable with the soldering required, or you should go out and find someone that is comfortable doing the solder work, replace all the capacitors in the original Xbox. Otherwise, you are very likely going to have a dead console very soon.
Yeah. It was a small thing, but I just found out Halo had an ARG. Halo had two. Oh, well, they have more. I'm pretty sure they have another one too. But David, I walked David all through that when we did our playthrough. How many years back now? We did, yeah, right. We walked through Halo 2. I Love Bees and
I still have a saved search for that DVD, waiting for the opportunity to be like, if I could fucking snag that.
Dude, I need it. Like that'd be one of my holy grails.
That is one of the few things where I'm like, I would sacrifice me owning something to make sure a homie had it. Like that's something I keep an eye out for you, not for my own collection. Even though I would love to have it.
Appreciate that. Yeah, and then Halo 3 also had one. Halo 2 is being very cool and very prominent. Hey, funny story. Speaking of Halo, I was talking shit about Halo 5, but not even terribly. I gave it its dues. I said, hey, Halo 5 gets pretty shit on, even though it has a pretty solid. I'd say even not even solid. I'd say it has a really good multiplayer because of the campaign. And then
the gameplay is solid. It's just the story was shit.
Yeah, and then there's someone it literally just No Life's Twitter searching Halo 5, and all they do is say, "Why was Halo 5 bad?" And I didn't know. I thought I just saw some Twitter profile with an elite on it. I'm like, all right, just some Halo person. I was like, all right, let me explain to you why Halo 5 story is bad. Went through this, and they jumped through 45 different hoops. My main complaint is I think the marketing doesn't last. I was like, hey, yeah, they said hunt the truth, and it didn't actually reflect anything in the story and on the game. And they're like, well, it's because it goes to the podcast, and you should look at the. I'm like, what does that make sense? Why am I looking at a commercial for a podcast? It's a commercial for the game, so why am I looking at that? And they're like, yeah, well, this is because everyone's stupid. And also like they're shit talking Bungie for that. Which, by the way, shout outs to Bungie. Y'all are getting fucking roasted by Sony right now. That might be a news story. We'll talk about that. But I didn't know there were like anti-Bungie pro 343 fanboys. Like that was, I would say I'm a pretty big creative, and I can imagine a lot of scenarios. Literally, that was not on any bingo board I've ever considered in my entire life. I never in my life was I ever think, oh, someone hates the prior Halos but fucking loves 343. It's so wildly bizarre to me. I can see.
Okay, real quick. 343 started with Halo 4, right?
They technically started with Halo 1 Anniversary. But original games, Halo 4.
And Reach was still
Bungie's
Bungie.
last.
Fuck is standing 343.
And
Speaking as someone that didn't care for Halo and really only gave it a second chance in recent years, thanks to you, and then literally went through the entire series back to back, seeing the whole journey unfold, one story right after the other. Who the fuck is standing 343? Yes, gunplay was fine. I thought it was solid. All right, cool. You can't fucking write.
So there's a lot to unpack here. This is gonna be a
Holy
podcast.
fuck.
I got a pretty solid night ahead of me. It's fine. Nothing hanging over my head. Kind of actually. No, actually, that's not true. I have a lot hanging over my head right now, but I'm willing to take out time to talk about this for a second because it's so bizarre. Now, when we went through our retrospective, I made my opinions very clear. I don't, and I know that again. We mentioned before that while I will die on hills, including one of those games being my favorite game of all time, just forever. Which I mean, technically we're talking about it now, right? But we'll come back to it. We'll loop around because this is not the main topic.
Well, it all comes full.
It's all a Halo.
It's all.
Like I said, like I'm not the biggest fan of Halo 3. I think I forget what my opinions were. David, you might be able to refresh me. I feel like my opinions changed a bit more after we played because I didn't like it a lot when I played it way back when, but I remember playing it and I feel like I've softened up a lot on it now.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the original conversation was that from a gameplay perspective and from a, I put so many hours into 2, 3 didn't kind of live up to what I had been building up in my own mind. But going into it fresh, you're like, seeing it for what it was at the time instead of what I wanted it to be, I enjoyed it more.
I think in the scope of video game landscapes, right? Halo 3 is a stellar game. Right? Yeah. It's like, and the music there is very little video game music that will like rival Nier, I believe, and I think Halo Halo will go like blow for blow against Nier for just soundtrack.
The leitmotifs, the composition, the consistent thematics.
It's like it goes from one, like the music itself evolves from 1 to 3 along with the story, and like especially like the Warthog Run track at the end where it's blending in everything. It's like, here's your last bit, and we're throwing everything in like a really well done mix. They matched the gameplay with the soundtrack. Like they made this the Warthog Run at the end when they coded it so that the big points of the song hit when you're ramping off things. So
you know what? Halo is another series I would easily go see a concert for the music.
Oh yeah.
I still can't think of any films I would go see a concert for the soundtrack.
So yeah, so I made my biases clear, but I feel like I was fair with every single Halo still, where I'm like, all right, let's try it, let's see what it is. Halo 1 I love, it has flaws. Halo 2 I love, and it will always be number 1, also has some flaws. The ending, David was stunned that the ending got away with what they did. I told him, now imagine being a Halo fan in 2004 and this is all you had for 3 years. Like they left you on the most cliffhangeriest cliffhanger of all cliffhangers. David was shy. David did not know that it ended. Like when he saw the credits, he's like, "What?" So like, yeah. But then you get to 4. And again, you know what? In the retrospect, 4, I think 4 is a solid story. I don't like the multiplayer. I think multiplayer it falls short. The story, while I don't care for it versus the trilogy, I think I understand what they're trying to do, and I didn't mind it. I was like, it's okay. 5, I don't remember a thing. I don't care about it. I played it multiple times. I don't care. I nothing. Locke is not interesting to me. The fact that you're right, like we'll talk about it again in a second because we're gonna come back. 5 is the game. 5 is the game we're talking about here. And then you know what? And to my point, I'm gonna follow up right after this. Halo Infinite, I think, still gets a bad rep from people. I think the campaign's really solid. I think that is the only 9+ thing I'd ever expect out of 343 because I genuinely I like Halo Infinite a lot. And to say that too, what I mentioned to someone else because I was making fun of him. Every once in a while now he blocked me, but I will like now occasionally just peep his because you can still look at who they're replying to, and whenever people are replying to him, I'm like, hey, don't reply to him. He just all he does is do that, and like, yeah, he's weird. Uh, I'm like, here's the thing about 343. You got handed one of the biggest video game franchises of all time, free keys to the kingdom, and you've yet to produce a 90+ game on Metacritic.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Real quick in the chat, Crazy Pepperoni, I'm expecting a Halo game in your list. I'd genuinely be surprised if you don't.
Yeah.
We know. And then Kel's, the most important part of Halo 5 is Nathan Fillion as a Spartan.
And that was like one cool moment. Like, okay, cool. Like it has some connection there. But all right, let's talk about 5.
Yeah, let's talk about 5 for what little there is to talk about.
Yeah. There's that. Like all the marketing is done. And now, and I had to explain to them. I had to put it again as a teacher. I have to rephrase and do things a lot. I understand. That's why I have the patience for Twitter. I have to teach people and like rephrase things a lot. I had to explain to them when you see marketing that shows like Locke standing above Chief all battered and Chief standing above Locke all battered, you expect something of a climax in that action. Like that is just storytelling 101. Like, okay, here, and I'm not saying it's gonna be that. It's never that, right? Especially in those trailers. It's like when I watched the Halo 3, like the Believe ad, when it had the badass like the diorama with all the like the big ass war. I knew at no point in this game were they gonna like hoist Master Chief up. Like they're not gonna do that, and there's not gonna be a battle that big. I know that, but the thematic themes held through of desperation and hope, right? That the marketing for Halo 5 does nothing. None of it comes back. None of it matters, and it all culminates to like a 2-minute fist fight between two Spartans, which is kind of mid. Like it was not at all what was needed. 343 annexed their own stuff by getting rid of Locke and afterwards saying, yeah, okay. They gave him a verbal like exit on Infinite. 5, the multiplayer, and I say this because they mentioned that if Halo 5 came out like today, the multiplayer would be like praised, and I agree. I think some of the stuff like breakout mode was like they put you guys like on a like futuristic grid. And it would be almost like it would be like down to 1. You would do that, and I feel like there's probably like some dodgeball. The multiplayer in Halo 5 is really good, genuinely. Like I think it's really good. The campaign's ass. I don't know what else to tell you. Like campaign is ass, and like also, dude, like tried everything on the planet. He's like, you just like simple stories, and Bungie is spoofing you. I'm like, bro, I like Nier, dude.
What?
I was like, he's like, you just can't handle anything of complexity. I'm like, bro, and I said this, I'm like, bro, I like Nier, dude. You can't literally go check out my podcast. I'm talking about the most convoluted thing with lore everywhere. You can't tell me I don't like convoluted shit. My fucking bio literally says Nier and Alan Wake 2 fan account right now because like, those are two of the most convoluted fucking stories currently in video game landscapes. They span multiple fucking franchises, both those games. Alan Wake is Alan Wake in Control to get the full fucking story. Nier, I need to play Drakengard to get the fucking Nier story that you miss in passing. Nier Automata has so much. You need to
look at a strategy guide in order to get certain elements of the story. You need to go and look at a stage play to get certain elements of the story.
I drove 12 hours to a concert. I drove 12 hours to a concert for an epilogue.
You need to watch a concert for the epilogue. You need to go play 80 hours in an MMO to get more of the story that then ties into the mobile game.
Which by the way, to make you really bummed out, they did say on there there's no plans for an offline mode. And I forget the name of the composer, but they were talking about him to it, and him and Yoko Taro both were like, no, we kind of like the idea of something not being available anymore for people. which I'm like, oh, that's
That is so on brand.
yeah.
But
I literally, if anyone else said
Oh.
that, you would be like rip shit pissed. You're like, fuck that. That's annoying. But that's the most Yoko Taro thing to be like, oh yeah, you didn't play it on time. All right,
That's
well that
literally
sucks.
the personification of the save file deleted, except now it's just lore deleted. Whoops.
Right, like, and that's kind of what fans are saying. Like that's we're upset, but we're not. This is what we signed up for.
Hopefully, the community does a lot to go
No,
ahead and try to archive
there
as much
are.
of that possible.
I might have them saved. If not, I'll look. But there's a couple of YouTube channels that are cataloging as much of it as they could, and there's a lot because it is deep. There is so much. Yeah.
But on to loop it back into Halo real quick. Can I also just say, like, for as much as this dude was talking about, oh, but the commercials, bro, or oh, the advertising, bro. You know what's fucking wild to me is again, I had no horse in the Halo race. I didn't give a fuck about Halo until you took me through that journey, and you went ahead and you showed me a lot of things to prep me for it. You took me through for each game, all the build up, all the
Trailers. I
marketing,
gave you the
everything.
lore. I told you kind of what was the vibe going into this game.
You know what trailer still to this day holds so fucking strong in my memory and is still a trailer that when I think of fucking like, no, that's how you fucking grab someone and you fucking build something.
Tell me it's Starry
lasting in their
Night. If you
brains.
tell me it's Starry Night, I'm in, dude.
That's a close second. It
Is
is
it the
honestly
veterans?
the Reminiscence.
The veterans talking.
When they have the all the veterans kind of going through.
Yeah, and they're talking
Like,
about like
that
how
one immediately, that it sets the tone perfectly of just this feeling of loss and almost like a grave fondness. Like, fondness isn't the right word.
like we
but it's,
won, but
like,
damn.
it's not.
Because
It's
remember,
not good to remember about what we.
spoilers
went
for
through to
Halo
win, like,
3, shit get like Earth, like a large part of Earth gets glass. Like Africa's like
Yeah.
fucked in Halo. Like
But remember, Resident Evil 5 is the racist one. But anyways, but
so,
no, like that. That's one of those things that it's
dude, there's
so potent, so
and so
powerful,
I had to
so
tell them because I'm
lasting.
like, I was like, they did terrible job at showing it. He's like, oh, but look at this, show a trailer. It's a like launch trailer or gameplay trailer that was out like a month before. And I slapped them back with a, hey, check this out. Here's the first trailer for Halo 2. I know 2 years before the game came out, that has the cutscene exactly from the fucking game. Which Halo 2 was made in 7 or 8 months, I think. I forget what it was.
Really, that's
Halo-
short.
Let me double check. Halo 2, I know I went through that with you. But that was, let's see, Halo 2 development time. Halo 2 was made in 10 months.
God damn, that is a fucking
So,
short fucking time. frame.
I forget. So the trailer, the E3 demonstration trailer they had for the game was literally the most like, it was played live, but it was like on duct tape and like on fire in the back, where they were like hoping like pixel for pixel that they hit everything, because it was like literally if your character was 1 foot that way, the whole demo crashed. Like everything about the demo was like, it was played, but it was like shaky to the point of like the person playing it was so fucking nervous. Like he was like, this is my job, and if I just do anything wrong, I'm fucked. Because you're showing off Halo 2 for the first time too, like gameplay wise. And yeah, that literally Halo 2 was 10 months from beginning to end, and it was pure development hell, or development crunch time. Like Bungie people didn't see home for 10 months. They all lived there. It is a beautiful catastrophe of a development. Yes, Kel. I forgot to get to Kel's. I forgot Locke got killed off screen. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like even fucking 343 knew that it was trash. So shout outs to that dude.
The whole build up. Oh man, Locke versus Chief. Nah, Chief still don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, it was like
Moving on.
a brute has Locke's helmet because he like hurt Locke, and then Locke just fucked off and ran. So what was I gonna say? Random side tangent. No, I don't. They didn't die. I think they ran off. It was insinuated they died or something, but I think they left the door open. I think people knew he died because he had the helmet, but he's actually alive. But he fucked off. Um,
Apparently, he's a bitch of a Spartan, so who cares?
Yeah.
It's Spartan. The second program of Spartan really wasn't the thing.
Why did you expect a showdown between Chief and Locke? Because at the fucking beginning of Halo 2 Anniversary, they add a whole ass fucking cutscene of this guy saying, "I'm here hunting Spartans. I want the Chief." Okay. So
also, that's literally the whole build up to that storyline is Chief's gone rogue. Oh man, something's going on with Chief. He's
the fucking box art is literally Locke and Chief staring down at each other. Like, bro. Anyway,
like literally half the fucking long story is, oh man, we don't know what's going on with Chief, but he's fucking gone rogue. Like how again, I had no horse in this race. I fucking barreled through the story. And this was also at this point, like what, 2 years ago almost now?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing I fucking remember about Halo 4/5
it was 3 or 4 years ago. I was in my old house.
Fuck. All right, yeah, it's been a while.
It was 2020.
And that's one of the core things
2020,
I remember.
David.
Holy fuck, we're old.
Remember, because we tried to we tried to finish it before the Xbox Series X launch, because that was when Halo Infinite was launching.
Oh shit, that's right. This console gen doesn't feel like it's been any time.
So we
still don't have game.
That was 3.5 years ago, David.
Jesus Christ.
Randomly I got a side tangent. Oh, go ahead. No, you're good. Do your thing.
No, I was gonna say like that's one of the core things I remember is that whole story was building up to that. That was one of the biggest things they were building up is like, oh no, fucking we can't trust Chief anymore. He's listening to the AI. The AI's got degradation.
The hunt the truth means like you gotta hunt the truth of Cortana. I'm like, fuck no, it's not what it is. Also, you literally said hunt the truth was not the thing, so now you're making it a thing. Okay.
Truly, like how. I rant about this a lot, but like, how the fuck has media literacy become such a fucking superpower nowadays? Like, I don't claim to be an intelligent person. Despite what I do for a living, I never claim to be intelligent because I know at the end of the day I'm a goofy fucking bastard. There's a lot of things that are like, I would say common sense. I'm like, oh, whoops. Which is why I have a beautiful, loving partner, because she covers a lot of the common sense shit that I don't think about.
So that's one of the top memes the girlfriend sends to me. She's like, when you want to just vent and have an emotional support, but your partner is a very logical and sensible person that gives you advice on how to fix things, and you just get upset about it.
That's the problem, is we're both the cold logical types, so it's just a self-feeding cycle. But no, like, so that's one of those things where it's like, I never claim to be an intelligent person. I think it is on some level pompous to ever claim yourself intelligent, because there's such a sliding scale of metrics of what that means. But however, I feel like media literacy at this point is really something that needs to be better taught in the schools, and I appreciate you and your efforts for what you do for your students. Oh, phlegm attack.
I'll write something down. I got a note on that. Keep going.
It's one of those things that I feel like that's becoming more and more of a rare ability for a lot of folks, is the ability to actually understand and digest the media that they've taken. Because I feel like everything is taken at face value now. No one actually understands the whole point of like subtext or relational imagery. Like, one of the biggest things, just to kind of relate it to something that's kind of more immediate in my brain, has been Hotel. I adore the series. Please go check it out if you haven't yet. Phenomenal fucking series, especially if you do like musicals. But there is a very, for some people, controversial song called Poison, in that a lot of people seem to think it glorifies sexual assaults. Anyone with any comprehension of media literacy understands that it's like, no, this is a song and imagery evoking disassociation. Someone that very much understands their own personal trauma and is basically just like, I'm doing what I need to survive. It's not glorifying it in any way. It's a condemnation of it. And it's also one of those things that very much rings of a survivor being with that understanding of, you do what you need to get through it. And to less severe examples, Evangelion is an example.
You're going with the
but,
whole.
like,
You're going with the whole other route. I was gonna say just the Smooth Brain takes on Barbie.
I mean, yeah. Also, the
Whereas
Smooth Brain
this
takes
this
on Barbie,
movie
but-
talks shit on men. It's like no, at the end, literally it was a positive message towards guys too. But you just didn't catch that because you're smooth brained.
Yes. Although, again, the cruel irony of a movie that was about genuinely positivity for everyone, but still also highlighting the fact that there is still a disparity in the work of women versus what men get for what little work it takes for them to build up
Anti-men
something.
woke.
Yeah, anti-men.
You know the fun thing is,
but also,
if you're bored, ask someone using woke unironically what it means, and they just stop replying.
that's usually very fucking true, which is hilarious. Also, speaking of which, haha, Trump is having his assets taken on the 25th. Get fucked.
Really quick. So
Yeah.
Avery says,
Go
"Yep,
ahead.
episode 4 was the one where that I saw so much backlash on. I was just so confused on some people's thoughts." Speaking of, I did see. I saw a very unfortunate thing with the whole Sweet Baby thing, and I understand how extreme it was. We didn't dive into it. I think it kind of just passed our radar. You followed that, right?
No, I saw a lot of
Gamergate
tweets
too.
going out about it. And I saw a lot of videos about it, and then I saw a lot of woke arguments. I'm like, I'm just backing off. I don't have time for this.
Do you have any idea what it was?
No, I really don't, honestly.
It's this company that goes in that teaches companies how to create diverse stories. They have a list.
Okay, on paper sounds good so far.
They have a list of all these games on there, and like they include stuff like God of War, Spider-Man, Alan Wake, yada yada, which people are already grasping onto Alan Wake. Like that's why Saga Anderson was black, because even though in the Quantum Break teaser she was white,
But who's going to God of War going fucking woke?
But so, which first off, I hate when people create these arguments, and take my opinion with a grain of salt, because again I say Alan Wake 2 fan account, but I will stand by this.
Yeah, as a minority, take your opinion with a grain of salt. So.
No, with the Alan Wake 2 part, because they were put on that list of companies that they have, or games they have consulted on, because that was a leading thing that some people were woke up about, where they were like, oh, Saga Anderson, because in Quantum Break there's an Easter egg teasing Alan Wake 2.
Okay.
And it's Sam Lake as Alex Casey standing next to someone named Saga with, like, it says Saga on there. Two detectives investigating. So that's the premise of Alan Wake 2. In the Easter egg, it's a white blonde girl. In the game, it's a black girl.
No, they changed their mind over the years.
Right, and
Who
so
fucking cares?
And so, and then there you go. So it was that they made one of the characters in Ragnarok black, and they were saying it was inaccurate due to actual character in mythology. And so, okay. Let me bring it back for a second. So they were, and then Sam Lake and Remedy has come out and said, no, that didn't affect anything. That was literally a Easter egg we put in a game 8 years ago. This is who Saga Anderson is. And then just everyone's like, yeah, I don't believe that. And they're like, all right, what do you want? Who are you gonna believe? It's literally the creator. Yeah, I don't believe what the creator says. Okay, so then what are we doing? I don't get it. Anyway, but
no, real quick, I need to touch on that comment real quick. From
okay, sure.
Pepperoni. Yeah, David Dice from Crunch. Here's the thing. Historians have basically there's more evidence coming out about how wild European supremacy, specifically English supremacy, is. More and more over the years, it's coming out that it's like, as people are putting together like journals from housewives and stuff, how real history actually happened. Because it used to be a thing in history that no one really cared about women's history for many reasons, because, air quotes, women weren't predominantly important because women weren't allowed to be important. But historians in more modern areas were like, yeah, but like the housewives were the ones that had time to just kind of like fuck around and just jot down notes on everything. So there's a lot of interesting information being gleaned about it. You know what's kind of wild about Viking history is how much of it may just be kind of propaganda by the British. because as a lot of notes are coming out, one of the things from the last couple of years that's been revealed is if you kind of look at like more first-hand diary accounts from women of the era, Vikings were like well kept. They were basically individuals who were like, oh, I'm gonna sign up for like a tour of duty essentially. I'm gonna go do this, and because of their inherent cultures, actually fucking showered, which was a rarity for England and British controlled territories at the time, and that's why they wooed British women, is because they had fucking hygiene. And so it's like, nah, they raped and pillaged, and it's like, I mean, they maybe did a little bit of pillaging, but like,
So let me say this.
Really raping.
Let me say this. People can't be complaining about characters being race swapped when Jesus was.
Also, that too. Anyone that ever it's literally a major part of Anglo-Saxon history. Like, this is what fucking infuriates me. Is like, I am one of the most least religious people on, other than probably my partner. I am one of the most least religious fucking people on this planet. And I grew up French Catholic, which granted really was basically being an atheist unless you were in trouble. Then, oh, God's gonna fuck you up. But it's kind of one of those things that I fucking love slap fighting fucking religious folks, because I've read a lot of the Bible. I've maintained most of it. As I get older, and it's been a while since I've read it, you know, things slip through the mind. It's not an important factor in my life anymore. But it's fucking wild how people seem to be like, yes, Egypt. And an
perfect white guy that was roaming through.
So many white people. The Middle East. So many white people in the Middle East, you know. Let's ignore the fact that Italy, when it was going through its occupation with Britain, had a lot of its stuff whitewashed, specifically because a lot of the British colonizers were like, no, that doesn't suit our needs. So let's repaint a lot of this shit.
Hey, but fuck the Little
Let's
Mermaid.
also forget. Yeah. Also, let's forget the fact that it's fucking wild to me. They're also taking it from these modern cucks who are like, no, I believe my Bible, but yet you seem to weirdly forget that angels are meant to be unholy fucking abominations. Angels are disgusting, scary fucking creatures.
Bayonetta.
Yeah, she's an unholy, disgusting creature.
No, but that's who you're fighting in the game, angels.
Yes, that was part of my joke. So if I remember no, it's Raiden. Goddamn, I can't remember his name now. I'm fucking toasted. But
at this point, if a character gets their race, skin color changed, I don't care unless that version of the character is badly written or whatnot. I agree. But let me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I want to bring back, because we went down a massive rabbit hole here. We got to climb back up here little by little. I also don't like change for the sake of just appeasing people. Which now let's bring it back.
Yes.
The big issue that more rational people that are on neither end, what the fuck, I was in that statement context. I have Angel in my name. Rip.
Yeah.
No.
I do have a follow-up statement, but I do want you to finish your start first. But I'm just doing this to remind myself.
Okay, so you made me think they had a statement, and it was a very aggressive one where they're like, we try to promote diversity. It will lead us to like even going up to the CEO and demanding and shaking and threatening the CEO to make this change. For that, like that was like an actual talk, like a GDC style talk of like that. Which now it's getting into that form of like, okay, so now you're doing this. So because like on paper, right? On paper, a company that promotes the idea of diversity, if you're gonna write diverse characters, because I get, because as a writer, on my very first piece of work, I mentioned this, and I told the story a while back. I don't know how to write well for female characters because I am not one, right? So I need to practice how to get in the mindset, because whenever I write my creative writing or scripts, it's very male dominated, because I understand that's like, I could dip in that, but it's hard for me to flip on the other side. I've been getting better at it, but it's still more to grow. But when you're writing something, it's good to have other voices say, hey, this is actually what works here. Here's where that works. That's a little bit like too far. On paper, that sounds good. The company itself was seeming extremely overreaching and like no, we demand like they were very aggressive about those, which can lead to the fact that now your creative works are getting ruptured because at the end of the day, honestly, if it's like Final Fantasy like what like 15, right? When I see like the car of the homies like hanging out, it's four white dudes. I'm sorry, but like there's gonna be a lot of like groups that it's just all white people, right? Bands, there's a group of white dudes, right? There's like if you go to Spanish band, you're not gonna see like very rarely you're gonna see like a random white dude or black dude in the band, right? It's gonna be a lot of Hispanic people in the bands. You're gonna have a lot of groups that just hang out together that same race, right? It's very rare that you're gonna see like a lot of diversity inside of one group, right? If you can write that story and that's where
Case in point, anything Japanese, you're predominantly going to see Japanese.
right.
Like, when you get into more countries that are not America, honestly, or Britain, you're going to have less racial diversity because there's a lot more xenophobia inherent to those cultures. For better, for worse, for what they are, that is the natural, just how they went. You know, there's a lot of isolationism involved in there.
Right. So, when it begins to overreach and affect the actual creativity, at the point, I get it. Let's ignore the woke arguments that are going either end that are too extreme. That's kind of like the proper middle ground of like, hey, cool idea of a company, you're kind of overdoing it, so chill. Everybody said, yeah, I never heard that. Yeah, there's a talk I've heard of one of the people doing talk about how they were like really overly aggressive about that, which is where the controversy started leaking out on. David, say your point because I'm trying to climb us back out.
Yeah, so real quick, just to kind of loop it back around, it's kind of one of those things that I've always had a certain philosophy, and I actually used to write for competitions. I, at a local level, actually was a very prolific writer. I stopped a lot because I unfortunately succumbed to internet, honestly. And I think in retrospect is like a major part of why I stopped doing a lot of writing and finishing my writing. Because I locally was actually getting compared to Stephen King a lot. And then when I'm like, oh, let me start going to like a more broad level and getting internet feedback, getting the internet feedback killed a lot of my thing. But for me personally, I've always had a firm belief that unless your story or your character that you're writing for has something inherent to their identity being a part of their character, it shouldn't matter. Just write a good fucking character. You know, at the end of the day, if you want to write a good fucking female character, is your story about the female experience? No, just write a good fucking character, slap the coat of paint, and that's how I've done a lot of my writing throughout the years. Is I basically quite literally roll the dice and be like, all right, on this spreadsheet, what's my character today? All right, we're getting a Hispanic woman today. Cool, all right. My story's not about the Hispanic woman experience, it's just you're on the typical hero's journey. Here you go. And that's kind of my feelings on it, is unless your story is something like The Color Purple or something like that, where it is very inherent to the race or the gender of the character, just write a good fucking character, and then the rest will fall in line from there. It's not that fucking hard.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see. Halo 5 still sucks, so shouts. Then where else did I go with that? How did I get to Halo 5? Let me roll back here.
Because as George Lucas would say, it's like poetry, it rhymes.
I forget how I think I just remembered Halo 5 when we were talking. Oh, Halo ARG. Okay. David, what'd you play this week?
We played fucking Tekken.
We played Tekken.
God damn. So much fun with that game. It is wild to change to.
So I should have announced it at the fucking top of the podcast. I keep forgetting. Hey, I was waiting to say things, I wanted to line up everything. Complete rebrand has happened now. So we are now on youtube.com/@bluerupees. That is there. We mentioned a couple weeks back. But also I had to wait a little bit and not really announce stuff because I was trying to snipe my own name back from the depths of YouTube before someone else sniped it. I don't trust you guys, but shout outs to the depunked that's also on Twitter. That is the Crypto Bro. I don't want him touching any of my stuff. So whenever I see a brand new social media profile or account, I snatch my shit up right away. I'm pretty paranoid about that. And there was an extended time, like supposed to be 14 days. That's what I was talking to YouTube support about a few weeks back. You guys remember I was like talking to someone. Um, it's supposed to be 14 days. It took like 20 days. But I have now took youtube.com/addepunked. I would love subscriptions on there. Subscribe to that channel. I am going to figure out what to do. I am going to do personal streams on there and make content on there. I'm doing my that's my brand new clean slate channel. I'm going to I'm going to commit. So like expect it to be vacant until I figure out like I'm doing this. Which is scary because like you know how much I travel whenever I can. So like saying I'm going to stream every Monday and Thursday and Sunday is scary because I'm like, all right, I got to commit, and if I am off a little bit or something, then that ruins a lot of things, right? So I need to figure out stuff, and I might even do content. So that's where my channel is going to be, my solo stuff. I say that because we had a lot of fun with Tekken, and I would love to still do those fighting game night streams. Like if we could figure out like one night to like carve out, we're doing fighting games here.
Yeah,
I would love to because that Tekken and a lot of the other fighting games right now, right, are just so fucking fun.
Yeah, I've fallen out of Street Fighter 6 to a degree. Like I had fun with it and I enjoyed it, but like Tekken 8 just fucking woke something up back in me. God damn. When we played our matches, the very fast and very aggro focused nature kind of took me off guard a little bit.
It threw me off guard too. It frustrated me because like I try to play a little cerebrally. So I'm like, all right, I'm trying to figure out what to do. But like when you are like on the back foot, it is hard for you to manage things. So you have to punch back. Like you can't just like kind of dodge. Like you have to make some forward on that.
You and I have a long history of fighting games together. And I feel like you know me well enough at this point to know that I have two modes. I very much have an Unga Bunga mode, but then I have a no, let's wait and see mode. And there's no in between. There's either I'm Unga Bunga or I'm let's wait and see. And starting this game off in like a let's wait and see mode does not get you anywhere other than your ass fucking open.
Because when you remember we started Street Fighter 6, you went Unga Bunga with Ken, which is literally like what you should be doing right now with whoever you were trying to play as. Like literally just go in and things will work out if you are smart enough. Like, well, watch the flow state of just the match.
Yeah, and man, everyone feels so. Oh, it's also getting weird. It also feels weird getting used to the quickness of the match.
I remember that one game where I just like, I almost like perfected you because it was really quick, but it was a 10-second match.
Yeah, it was a 10-second match. I got in like one counter hit, and that was it. Oh, what the fuck just happened? Like, I did not have a chance to learn anything from that experience other than
you blink and it was all right. Round 2.
But no, like it's such a fast, frenetic match. It's very much a counterplay heavy meta, but not in that counterplay that like Tekken 7 is, where you're waiting for your moment to get in. It's very much a like, all right, where can I get that counter hit? Where's that counter hit coming in?
I think
where can I just stop you?
It's punish heavy, I'd say.
Yes, punish heavy would be good to say. It's so much fun though. Like that was the
that is a spectator ass game.
It's a spectator ass game, and also I feel like it's so fascinating to learn because you really can't button mash. Like many Tekkens, you can't button mash because it gets a pro, you're gonna get stopped anyways. But like I learned the hard way with Reina. Then I'm like, okay, let me try some stuff that I kind of vaguely understand from watching footage. You saw my ass just like wrecking myself halfway across the screen, not even near you. I'm like, what am I doing? I don't understand what's happening. I'm just going on my own fucking journey. Don't mind me. And it's like, oh, this game like really is so fine-tuned to understanding what control inputs you're putting. So you really have to like be quick and aggressive, but you have to be very specific with what you're doing. It's fucking wild. I fucking love it.
I'm excited because I'm gonna start trying to carve myself out some time. I want to play story mode. I haven't touched story mode at all.
Same.
So I'm gonna try to do that. I want us to play some games. So we're gonna figure out something soon because that was a lot of fun. It's fortunately I didn't have that much time that night, but But let's start like carving out some time because Tekken's just some good shit. Like it. Well,
It's good.
hey,
I just really need to finish 7 first. As soon as I finish 7
You haven't finished
Rebirth, I
7?
can
What the
put far
fuck?
more time. No, I got to chapter 7 and then I've stopped. Here's the thing. I'm doing all the side content along the way. There's a fucking... I am 40 hours in and I'm halfway through the game.
I feel like I 100% of that. I could be wrong. I could be maybe wrong. I know it might have been 6.
7
I know for sure.
Rebirth? You haven't
Oh
touched
no!
that.
Oh no!
from what I
I'm
saw.
sorry. You said going through side missions. I thought we were talking
Oh,
about Tekken.
gotcha. Yeah, no.
We
No,
transferred to Final Fantasy. I was like,
in
wait a
7
second.
Rebirth.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
In
so you
7
said-
Rebirth.
You said I haven't finished 7, and I thought you meant Tekken
Fair.
7, and I was like, what the fuck do you mean you haven't finished Tekken 7 story mode? What the fuck
No,
does
no,
that mean?
No,
That's
in
why I was
FF7
really
Rebirth,
confused.
I'm like 40 hours in and I'm halfway through the game.
Yeah, that's
so
fair,
it's
that's
like,
fair.
fuck. But I want to finish that before I like super commit to it because I know as soon as I go into that, I'm still gonna want to get like caught up on the games gone by. Even though shoutouts, we're slowly uploading all of the legacy stuff for games gone by.
That will get
we're
updated
gonna
soon.
get
I
caught
had
to
to get the brands figured out. Now also since I'm kind of like in the groove of like video editing and stuff like that too because of work, it's kind of getting me into I'm easing into a flow state now where things are like
Yeah.
okay, it's making sense that now's the time. I think it's like slowly open. You know when you feel like all right, you keep on saying now it's time, but like never really feels right. It's like slowly but surely I'm kind of getting there. I'm inching my way there.
Also, real quick, pepperoni in the chat. I need to get back into 6. I saw the Akuma trailer. I liked my time with 6. I don't know if I'd actually go back to it.
I
It's
think
a
we'll
lot
go
of fun.
back. We'll go back.
It's
It
something
was
I would
fun,
pick up
dude.
with friends. Like if you were like, "Hey,
Yeah.
let's play," I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go back and play," but it's not something I'd play competitively. I meant what I said when I think like Tekken 8 is probably the last game I'll try to like take seriously competitively. But then also following up, I've been trying to get back into MVC 3, and I'm so confused. I fucking love Marvel. I will fucking, to my dying breath, I will fucking praise the Marvel series. UMVC, though, is just a wild fucking beast of, like, there's, like, 7 characters that if you don't play those 7 characters, unless you're someone like a Apology Man or some other, like, weird Spanish specialist, you're not fucking doing well in the game. And that's the harsh truth of that fucking game. Or Lythero. Unless you're Apology Man, Lythero, or someone from Spain who's like, you know what, MODOK is a way of life. You're not fucking doing well if you're playing like 7 specific characters.
So, not to ring back, but this is part of the reason why this Sweet Baby thing is a bit of an issue. So, PC Focus tweeted out the new upcoming game Awakening has started mass banning everyone in Steam forums who mention Sweet Baby or say anything negative about things. They wiped 99% of the forums. Brand content manager is David Bedard, one of Sweet Baby Inc.'s
Fucking
founders.
Davids.
So the brand manager is one of the founders of that, and he were posting like literally someone got banned for saying, "Do I smell some quote unquote Sweet Baby in here?" And that's all it got banned for.
No, fuck that. At that point, you're a bit of a cuck.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a lot more nuanced than just like people don't like this thing doing that. It's a lot more nuanced, but
I know. Fuck it. There is no good human being in this world ever that has been named David.
David
Sure.
Lynch.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a right old bastard too.
Uh,
Did you
oh,
not
did
see him get angry at that assistant for wanting to cut the time on film editing?
it's so funny. Hey, did you hear about that Nickelodeon documentary that's up on Max right now?
Yeah, I need to acquire
I'm
that so I
gonna-
can watch that.
I'm gonna watch that tonight, and I don't want to, but I just need to. Like, it's one of those like things. It's like this is about to fuck up like a lot of what I cared about, but you need to know, like, especially, and I feel a personal obligation because like I occasionally get in my own head a little bit when it comes to teaching film production because it's like Hollywood's a fucking beast.
It's a disgusting.
Yeah, so like I just need to also open myself to like obviously the heinous and weird shit. Yeah, it's the
Yeah, Dan Schneider is a major part of it. A pepperoni.
But it's on Max. I'm gonna watch that. David,
Yo.
we played Tekken 8. Anything else you've been playing?
No, that's the only thing I've had time for because of patch week.
I played a handful of games, but I'm really gonna just nail it down to. Oh, I didn't talk about what anything I bought either, or I did. No, I didn't.
No, what'd you buy?
Shit. Okay, hold on.
All right, while you're going,
I'm ready.
while you're
I'm sorry.
pulling that up, a Pepperoni in the chat. Oh, for some reason I thought
Rob
name was
Schneider.
Rob Schneider. No, that's a different Schneider. That is also a piece of shit.
Hey, I bought this a while ago because that'd be funny. Since I go on the Pokemon Go things, bought an egg incubator. I kept Magikarp in there because it's funny.
Hell yeah.
And he also he's splashing right now.
He's vibrating.
Yep.
For
All right,
pleasure.
I got a handful of games in here. There you go. I got Opus, Song of Starstrong.
Didn't you show that off last week?
I might have. I don't remember. I got Rune Factory Special 3.
Heard that's the worst running version of it.
Yeah. I heard I got that specific because I have 4 digital, but I hear 3 is a pretty solid way to go that for. Anyway, I got DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing. I've realized
You can Shrek it up.
I realized that I have a lot of the bad kart racers on Xbox, so I might want to do a video on that actually. That's been one of my leading ideas. Girlfriend got me this because it's what I relate to a lot.
Hell yeah.
Sleep Kirby. Hey, and then Steam sale. I mentioned that a little while back. Oh yeah, because that's how I got to Battlefront. Shout outs. You guys fucked up.
Now we finally come full circle like
Yes.
poetry.
I bought a handful of things. I bought Contraband Police because I heard that game's a lot like just like a 3D version of Papers, Please.
That's adding to your
Yeah,
complicated police games.
right. But I did hear it's got overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, and people are saying it's like Papers, Please. Just
Yeah, I'm sure if you go to a lot of white communities, you'll get a lot of over positive reviews of the police.
True.
So
I bought X Zodiac. That's the early access Star Fox NES style game. And then
okay.
I also decided to finally buy it, and I spent money on the DLC because the DLC is gonna get a certain fanboy like me. I bought all the Voice of Cards pack and DLC, and the DLC is literally just Nier themed DLC. That's all cosmetics, which
Ooh.
it has like songs. It has like you're playing on the Grimoire table. You got like a yeah. And I looked up. I'm like, all right, can I save $10 right now? I looked up, is the DLC worth it? And everyone's like, it's only if you're like a Nier super fan. I'm like, oh fuck, all right.
Fucking Christ. Oh man.
But
That's
yeah,
not fair.
I wanted Voice of Cards because speaking of card games,
Same.
that's been Yoko Taro. I need to support that man.
I'm so annoyed that it doesn't have a physical release.
Yeah,
truly.
that's why I didn't buy it. I was holding out. And I don't think there's gonna be one. So, just bought it.
Fuck it. That's something that even if it does get a physical release later, I'd double
Yeah.
dip. Who cares?
Hey, and my big game that I bought, not big game, it's actually a small game, but a game I fucking love. I bought Balatro. It's the card poker roguelike. Holy shit, David. So Balatro, I think it has to be like a Devolver style game. But it's a game that you get like poker hands, you gotta match your poker, you get certain points for it, you gotta beat the blind. But then you can start adding multipliers. You open packs like in between that'll be like, hey, you can add a card to your deck. Oh, you want to add more spades to your deck? Go add more spades. You want to destroy some hearts? Destroy some hearts. You can make them. You can pull out. It's like you're opening packs in between every round, and then like,
this sounds fucking wild.
dude, I put 8 hours into it already.
Dead?
I put 8 hours into it already. Balatro, yeah, you're gonna love it. It's got 90 on Metacritic and it's killing it right now. You're gonna love it. It's got cards that'll be like, hey, there's Joker cards that'll
How
add
the fuck do you spell that?
BALATRO. It looks it's got a VCR pixel vibe to it.
Ooh.
Trust me, David, buy it. Humble first. It's 20% off on Humble.
Yeah.
So, and then you got Joker cards that'll add multipliers to everything. You got Celestial cards that'll add to your multipliers on there. You got you got Arcana cards, which will add multipliers to specific cards. So they'll be like, oh, this one's a glass one. It'll give you this much percent, but there's a 50% chance it'll just break. Oh, here's a gold card. If you hold it in your hand, you'll get $3 at the end of the round, and it'll give you like kind of this and that. And plays with the percentages and the odds like a lot, and it's got that satisfying loop where you just see like multiplier, 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 big score. And runs are pretty
Fuck,
quick.
this game looks dangerous.
David, yeah, that it's
I usually hate roguelikes, just because I don't like a controllable factor. But I'm also a bit of a fucking card gambler. Which is why I don't go to poker tables and stuff.
Buy it. Like I'm not even like buy it. I put 8 hours into it. It's already 8 hours in. I bought this shit like on Friday. Runs are quick, and then it's got that roguelike thing, but like it unlocks more cards, more decks. There's a lot of different types of Joker cards. There's like one that's like it's all glitched up, and it says it's like it's a I forget what it's called Misprint, and it's just like it spins. It might give you a 23 times multiplier one round. Might give you times 0. I don't know, but you're playing with odds. It's like if you like cards, if you like fucking around with odds, if you like big numbers, and if you like playing a lot of rounds, David, it's your game. Like,
all right, I'm gonna ruminate on that while I pee real quick.
Balatro, big shout outs. I saw people talking about it. I saw a peek of it, and I was like, I saw a peek of it. I'm like, oh, all right, this seems kind of fun. But I was like, I got a lot of other games right now, and I just kept seeing it pop up, and I'm like, all right, let's just buy it and let's try it because I could be in the mood for kind of like a little more quicker of a game. Yeah, no, that was like, nope, that's it. That's the game I want. Super fun. Highly recommend it. It's already creeping in people's top 10 for sure this year, and I can already it's gonna be in my top 10. There's like no way it's not. I love it. It's so good. Finally beat one run, so I'm going in my second run with a different deck. It rewards you for every single run you do on different decks. Some of them really play against you. Some of them play in your favor. A lot of stuff. It's so good. So shout out to Balatro on that. Let's see. Hold on one second. Sorry, I had to have Siri remind me, and I didn't feel like didn't feel like broadcasting it. Not that it was bad or anything.
Back in here.
Shout out to Balatro. Again, multiple
Orange
shout
cats again. Fucking orange cats.
David, I also have something that David, I have something that you're gonna actually appreciate a lot.
Are you?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. So let me set this up real quick. I've been trying to find one of these. I found the perfect one finally, so I'm hype. Let me set this up real quick. David, I have found the old school way of fixing our issue with the certain device that we own. And I had a finagle. I bought one, didn't like it, I mentioned it. You probably forgot about it. It's okay. But I found a book light.
Oh, that brings me back with Game Boys and shit.
Yeah, so and granted, I would say it to you, you don't have the case for it, so it wouldn't work for you.
No, I don't.
If you ever do, for whatever reason, buy one, it clips. This one I saw recommended to me, and I saw it looked pretty good. It's got a skinny profile, so like you can slide it in between the case and the Playdate on there. Boom. So Playdate at night is now a go. I'm super excited for that.
I really want them to release like a pro model or some shit that has a backlight. I really do.
I mean, either that or I wish
double dip.
I don't know if I double dip, but I wish they would just like. I wish they'd kind of lean into the fact and just like they would just sell you a little light. I mean, if they just had if they sold accessories for light, like I'd spend.
I'd 100% fucking double dip if they're like, here's a fucking pro model that has a backlight and like maybe I don't know one other weird feature that's kind of neat, but
yeah, they sold 70,000 units, so good for them.
Good. I'm fucking. I convinced my boss that he should try and get one when he has a chance. Just because I adore the Playdate. It is a fantastic, fun little game console that truly does get the concept of what the Game Boy original was trying to be. Of just like, here's a fun on the go, just kind of just play. Just fucking play for a little bit, put it down, continue when you want to
It's
later
literally an
kind of
adult
thing.
fidget toy.
It's an adult fidget toy, and honestly, the games that people are coming out with is
I want to make that game. I want to make a
phenomenal.
game on there, David. We need to make a game on there.
I still would love to make a game on there. I just am frustrated with its inability to be usable in anything other than daylight.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna put that on my list. I'm gonna I'm gonna try to, maybe I'll stream myself trying to figure that out. Hey, I forgot to mention on here. You mentioned media literacy, right? We mentioned that way back when.
Yeah.
That's funny enough. I have a meeting about what it frustrated me. I understand there was not really a malice behind it, but like it still frustrated me because I had to defend why and what playing Firewatch as a lesson did for my students. And I had to defend being like, look, the way I teach, and I've told this on podcasts, I teach concepts, then I teach us going through the text. So Firewatch is a primer of how to get theme, having to get point of view, having to get the basics down before we're on a giant ass Hamlet unit right now. And cool. Hey, guess what? We walked through all this stuff on Firewatch. You guys know how to find themes and stuff like that. Perfect. Then we're good. So it wasn't a big deal, but like it just frustrates me because it's like the same as reading a book. Like you wouldn't have walked in if we were reading a book, right? But like because we're playing video games a little differently, and kids don't consume books; they consume media that they watch now. David, we're about an hour 45 in, so let's do this list. We're gonna do our top 10 list. We're gonna see how this goes. Yeah, I use Firewatch. I was super excited. It actually worked really well. And I did not like Firewatch when I first played it. Turn my opinion around. I actually really like it. I think I just wasn't in the right spot for it back then. I asked you a few weeks back, can we create a top 10 list of games that you would specifically gush about, talk about, whatever you want?
And I said, fuck you, I'll try.
Yeah. In fact, I'm looking at this list. I'm gonna swap something. And I'll just make a quick mention of it before because there's one that belongs on here. I just don't know where. And actually, like I was thinking about it recently too. I'm like, I might even swap that one, which I'll get to talking about in a little bit. But David, are you going in descending order of most importance? Is it like a 10, just 10?
This is just 10. Here's the thing, and I've said this many times to you personally and on the podcast. If you ask me this question, you're gonna get a different answer on a different day. While deciding this list, I've spent a long time trying to kind of figure out how I would decide this list. And the way mentally I decided that it's like, okay, these are the 10 games I'm going to go with for the podcast is like, these are the games that I would want a fucking cigarette again after. Like, if I were to ever fucking break my going on 4 years of non smoking, if I was like, fuck, I need a cigarette after that kind of fucking experience, what would be the games that fucking throw me back into that? These are the 5 games where I'm like, whew, I need some kind of release after that. I went with a theme for it. Not necessarily, these are my favorite of all time definitively, just like today, if you were to ask me what I would need a cigarette after fucking finishing the game for, these are those games.
So I want to mention something real quick. I find it interesting when when Topster last year was kind of popping off, and everyone was making their like top 25 lists or whatever. I remember on there I put Marvel Snap on top 25, and some of my students were like, "That's a weird thing to put in top 25." I'm like, I feel like games, funny like multiplayer games, kind of it depends, I guess, but like a lot of multiplayer games that you just play so much of, you just don't put on there. I'm like, I think it's kind of disingenuous, right? Like, I played Marvel Snap.
Yeah,
I played Marvel Snap almost every single day since launch, which has been like a year and a half ago. It's not on my top 10, but like you think it would be, right? Like it's like a game you enjoy, right? But it's like it's weird. The psyche is a little weird with that.
It's true because I have 2 games that are technically multiplayer on there. And it's just because I knew I wanted the genre that each one was a part of to be represented. But it's like, if I were to just like stop and look at like the games I spent a lot of time enjoying with friends, like Battlefield Bad Company 2 would be there. Mag would be there. You know, there would
It,
be a
it,
lot of games where it's like I wouldn't necessarily call them my favorite games of all time, but if I really stopped to think about the amount of time I spent with friends enjoying games, my list would look entirely different.
yeah, and it's weird that we kind of just don't lump that in, right? Even though like we do spend a lot of time. So and yeah, 8%. It was strangely addicting for during my first or my last year of high school. Marvel Snap's great. Um, yeah, so it's a little weird, but I have some of that on here. So David, hit me with your first one.
So the first one I have on this list is one that when we talked about like the video game, like 5 games to explain you as a gamer, that this is a repeat from there. And again, I went back and forth between this and another entry in the series, but I also did try to again hold myself to a rule of no repeats per franchise. And honestly, I went back and forth. Like until you said today, which one are we doing? I'm like, we're doing the 10 games. Is when I finalized which one I'm doing, and I put Final Fantasy 9 on here. I often go back and forth between 9 and Tactics being my favorite Final Fantasy, um, for different reasons. But I think the reason why today, if I was to say why 9 is one of my favorite games of all time, it's the individual character journey. 9 does such a phenomenal job of setting the stakes, setting up the characters, and getting you invested very fucking quickly. Whether it's the Princess Garnet, which she immediately takes on the pseudonym Dagger, which in and of itself is also a very thematic and very player controlled moment, which is kind of distinct and interesting. Whether it's Vivi in the immediate tumultuous, just soul crushing journey. Like it's barely even a spoiler because it happens so early in the game, but just the whole journey of Vivi and the Black Waltzes, it's so fucking just the tension is palpable. It's wild. This is a game that takes you on so many individual journeys that blend together to create a wonderful masterpiece of fantastic character development and fantastic character interactions. And while it's not a perfect game, I consider it a masterpiece, but not perfect. Because there are some character journeys that unfortunately do drop off. Freya, by the end of disc 1, doesn't get a whole lot of focus put on her anymore, which is very unfortunate, especially because of the nature of her storyline. And Amaranth is a character that is fascinating, but by virtue of when you get him in your party, doesn't get a whole lot of time to develop. Is a character that unfortunately does fall a little bit to the wayside. It is still a journey that is heartbreaking, soul crushing, and yet hopeful in the same way. By the time you hit the end of the game, you're left with this bittersweet feeling, and that's something I love in a lot of my stories is that bittersweet feeling, that feeling of like, I mean, things are okay, but at what cost? And 9 leaves you at such a beautiful, poignant moment where it leaves you like, okay, some of the cast gets a happy ending, but we know through everything we've gone through, not everyone's getting a happy ending.
Mhm.
And knowing that you went through hell and back, the potential literally destruction of all existence, and knowing that not everyone gets to have a happy ending by the end of it, is such a beautiful moment that, while technically, yes, handled in other Final Fantasies is something new to the franchise, I feel that the characters that it uses as its predominant anchor points, Vivi, Zidane, Steiner, Dagger, Aiko, it handles it in such a wonderful way. And is truly a game that, if someone was to ask me today, which Final Fantasy do I use as my entry point, 9 is 100% the one I would
Yeah, I think that
use.
was one of the ones I wanted to try eventually. Nice.
100%.
And we'll try to be speedy because we know, especially me, right? I'll gush about these forever, so we'll be a little speedy.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
put it succinctly, but it's gonna be
We
hard.
can't. We don't want to rush to a point where you aren't giving it its dues, right?
I will say if there's a one you list that I also have listed, I'll hop in and then we can just kind of combine them and vice versa. I think that's
Sure.
a good way to handle it.
Sure. I'm sure we have to have at least one crossover.
I'm sure we have at least a couple. At least one, maybe two. I think there's maybe two we have crossover.
There's one. I can promise you.
One definitively.
There's one.
I think we
there's
both
one.
know which one it is.
I would be shocked if you had anything else. So mine's Halo 2 top, and I'm going down in descending order.
Fair.
We mentioned it in this podcast, and I mentioned it to the girlfriend in like a way that it's like we literally get to find on the console and the game you got brought up on. I am just competitive by nature. I like to try to win. It just feels good to kind of just increase on that, right? You diverted by doing story, right? Like our number ones that we mentioned, even though it's not necessarily your number one, but mine at least on that. It's funny because like those define us, right? Like I like stories. Yeah. I always like stories, but like our competitive nature, or our nature of gaming growing up, you were defined by a beautiful story, which I'm there too. And you also like, but the tech and stuff, you like competition, cool. So we have some crossover for sure, 100%. You use the rest of my list, but the first two games are going to be just competition because that's what defined me. And Halo 2 Online, amazing. I think just this was what like feeling this is the first time I was ever excited for like a sequel. As a kid, like I never got like Banjo-Tooie or anything like that, but like sequel, like I loved Halo. Halo 1 was the first time I ever just like, oh, games have stories. Like as a kid, I was like 4th grader, 5th grader playing it. Like, oh, is this a story? That's weird because I played Nintendo stuff, right? Nintendo had some story, but like I'm talking like I played like Mario 64 and stuff like that, right? So it's like no.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, there's a story here. And like I remember me and my friend were just like so excited, like in middle school, just ready for this game to come out. Playing it, I played through motion sickness to get done with the game. Vomited violently afterwards. Loved it, just everything about it. And that's a game where I've dissected it. I've learned the super jumps. I learned all the glitches. I did all that. Like I did that to it. Extreme obsession. And we mentioned like I just have a love for Halo. It saddens me whenever I see that. And I will say is that this side tangent here real quick is that on YouTube recommendation it was like, hey, here's the history of Charizard or Ash's Charizard. I was like, I got half an hour to kill and I'll play it on the way to work. I'm watching it and there was like it was the it has those moments you get, and I get those moments, I know I do, where it's like it just something hits you right in the nostalgia feel, like a quick jab right in the gut, and it gets you choked up like instantly. You're like, oh fuck. And I have to do the whole like, and it was like, the one for me was when he leaves Charizard at the canyon, like he's like, and it's just like,
yeah,
because it comes full circle. Because hey, shout out to Pokemon, they had a solid like arc for Charmander, right? Being abandoned, having to deal with the abandonment issues, even though like he grew as a Charmander, he grew to love Ash, but like he inherited being abused.
Yeah.
And like
and also like weirdly perfectly reflects like the teenager experience,
right? And there's moments where I think there was that one episode where the Pokemon talk, where they're trapped on the island, where Charmander gets freaked out that Ash might leave him again, and it's a cool arc because like Charmeleon and Charizard just don't give a shit about Ash a lot of times. Eventually make the workaround. Charizard kind of gets checked, like, hey, you're not that strong, bro. You think you're strong, but you're not that strong. Like literally all of Charizards kick your ass. He leaves him for training, and then like that's the full circle part where Ash literally has to leave and run away, which I fucking hate. Like anytime I see like people abandon shit, upsets me. But like
that is one of the unfortunate natures of like that series being long going with Ash specifically, is there's so many Pokemon he had to leave behind. It's like,
hey, but the new series gross. Apparently they're not gonna H Ash up still, which is fucking stupid.
Well, in the brand new series, it's not even Ash anymore.
No, I know, but they hint he's gonna come back eventually, like not like in a full way, but they mentioned like that's the last you've ever seen of him. So he'll make some sort of like
Mm.
return, but they're gonna let the new character settle in, which is fair. But they're set Ashes forever for forever 10. I'm like, no, you guys are botching that. Like literally like age him up and like make us feel good about that. Like we went through a whole journey, he got to live up, right? But like whatever. Anyway, but that was the and I'm trying to bring it back now. The jab like that
Yeah.
with Ash running away from Charizard, making him feel that. So I got that when I was watching all these people watch these trailers again. Dude, the first announcement trailer for Halo 2, which is just like him walking through the hangar or the thing, and you say like, the blips come up there like uh evaded like dominant like, alien species, landed on this ancient Halo construct, uh, outwitted a millennia old AI, stopped the parasitic uh, species from devouring the universe, stopped stop the destruction of human race in progress. And like that just gets me every time. And every single time I hear like it's so cool because Halo has that motif of like everyone's like checked out, like we lost, dude, like we lost. The Chiefs here. What do you mean the Chiefs here? Like what the fuck that means? And Chiefs always like, nah, we're good. Um, and just like fucking just dive bombs out there with the bomb leaving out the hangar. The Starry Night one, that's the one that got me teary eyed, and it doesn't happen very often. But when I was getting through it, it almost got me. Like that trailer actually almost got me, but it wasn't until the Starry Night one where they're talking. The two kids are on the grass, like each other. You ever wonder what's out there? What do you mean? You ever wonder if someone out there is looking down at us and thinking about us? You think that'll ever happen? I don't know. Do you? And then you turn back and you see the Chiefs helmet on the ground and you hear screaming and then just boom, like hard cut. Things are fucked all around you. You hear like that ring in your ear, and then you hear people like screaming over the mic, like "Get down, retreat, retreat!" And then someone's like, "What about the chief?" Someone goes, and you see Magic Chief getting up from the sand, like checking everything out, put his helmet back on, and then he's getting up, looking around, and you hear someone go, "Sir, I think we lost him." And then Chief just looks up, not yet, pulls out a bubble shield, throws that shit on the ground, takes on a wraith shot, and then just sprints off into shit. I'm like, oh, dude, I remember first time seeing that. And, oh my god. Aaron, he says gotta go, but I can't wait to see you guys' list later. Next week.
Hell yeah.
Oh, for the roster next week. But this, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, like Halo marketing, the hit 2 and 3, and then even Reach had some solid ass marketing for sure. But like, man, shit like that just really hits me. And it's in Halo 2, it's nostalgia, but like it's there's a reason why it was so popular. There's a reason why there's a fervor behind it. And like watch back to that documentary for Halo. And when Halo 2 Anniversary came out, and like see how people reacted, and like how it was the biggest media thing out there, and just people want it. It's just like I was there, and I was a kid, but like that was cool because I was on the cusp of me being a conscious kid, right? You know, you're like, I don't remember how things were in elementary. I remember vividly everything for Halo 2, dude. It was so cool. So Halo 2 shouts.
And also, the one thing I'll add to that real quick, I almost put Reach on this list just because that story is so fucking poignant and is everything I fucking love in a story.
What was it? It's like Mission or something. Survive.
Yes.
It's said like you're losing all your friends and like your whole. It's a suicide mission, and then like the end, the fact that like it's hopeless. Like literally, you don't win, and they made that in a game. Like you can't win. Everything is getting harder and harder and harder. Your HUD's gone. Everything's cracked, and then like you see your dude, right? Your dude that you've been running with. And it's cool because it works with your customization too. So like your noble like works with however customized you did in multiplayer, which is cool. And then like just gets surrounded by elites, and then you see it just cut his helmet on the ground.
It's so fucking good. And one of the things that Halo as a collective I really appreciate, that I still feel like people that only cursorily know about Halo don't quite understand about it, and that I appreciate from a writing perspective, is that Chief isn't the best. That's not the point of Chief. Chief is not the strongest, the fastest, the most intelligent, anything like that. He's just the fucking luckiest.
Yeah, I love that. From the books, it really established that, but it doesn't really say it too much in the games. But that's the cool thing is like, yeah, when you're reading the book stuff, like, hey, there's this fucking Spartan that just hauls ass like fucking nuts. There's this Spartan that's like a massive motherfucker. He is a mammoth. There's this Spartan that has like the best sniper shot of all time. But Chief got luck, dude. Chief
Yeah,
just
she's
lucks
just
out.
like, I don't know, fuck it, we're gonna try.
And
And it
it's
works
cool
out.
because it works. Like every time, like thematically that happens, like he just gets out of these situations by like a fucking like hairline, like the smallest hairline, right? Like even the end of 3, right? His ship got fucking
Yep.
demolished to a point where like he just barely survived that shit. Like it's cool because like that thematically that just sounds so fun. Um, yeah. So big
And
shouts.
I love that for a character.
Yeah, big shouts. David, hit me with another one.
All right, so the second one I have on my list here is probably one that you have on your list, and it may potentially be the only one we have as crossover, and that is Nier Automata.
Let me jump in super real quick, because I want to say this.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not gonna say anything else. I after playing Replicant, I wobble back and forth because like we mentioned last time, Replicant has some moments that Replicant feels more human.
Yes.
Automata feels more universal, if that makes sense.
Yes.
There's human elements, right? Like the weight of the world stuff, which we'll get to and all that, I'm sure. But like, Replicant just had a lot more human factors. But I think it's also just because it's so fresh in my mind. That's why I see a lot of those. But like I mentioned, like I almost don't know if any moment fucked me up more than again like the Hansel or Gretel. I forget which one. I think it's Gretel you fight, but the one you fight there, and then just his friends just like saved him and then protect him and die trying to protect him. Like that shit fucks with me. Like that lives rent free in my head in a toxic fashion. Like I don't. It just the concept that these kids,
it doesn't leave you feeling good after
these because you killed them, you didn't know too, right? And it recycles that again. That's the thing about Yoko Taro. That's the one I do have a criticism with Yoko Taro. He did another game, or he worked on another game, and the game's gimmick in there was also deleting your save. I don't want him to fall into this hole of things doing that same thing over and over, because Replicant and Automata are largely a lot of the same. Like the there's a big gimmick in there that follows the same thing. I hope he doesn't fall into that. That the genuine hope that he has. He's also a troll, right? So he's like, I just like deleting your save. Cool, but like I also want to excuse him. Like I will hold him I will hold him to the flame to be like, hey, you are a brilliant man, and he has an infinite amount of writing, so I believe that. But nothing in Nier or Dragon Guard hits me more than the fact that like these little kids brought someone out of his depressive funk, made him see the light, and like you come in to kill him, not knowing what you do because you're the hero of your own story, and they throw themselves at you. And I love the beauty of it, right? You don't know, you hear these muffled like shade screams. You don't know what the fuck's going on, but they're like protecting him, and the guy's like just saying, "Stop hurting my friend." Like that I hate that line, bro. Like something about that. This fucks me. Stop hurting my friends. Guys, he's too strong for you. Stop it. I'm like, I can't. So like that moment is like the toppest of top tier moments in that. Aside from like Weight of the World, actually. Weight of the World almost like there's a lot of moments, right? But like that moment fucks with me.
Yeah. See, here's why I went with Automata specifically.
Yeah, let me hear that because I will coincide with. I still do pick Automata. Automata is the one here.
Fair. The main reason I picked Automata, because again, I tried to keep it to specifically one game per franchise. And it's because of the fact that I was afraid that recency bias was why I was thinking more about Replicant.
Yeah.
Because I did play the original Nier back in the day, but it wasn't a game that, like, I got super into, or I need to immediately play anything. Hence why I was like, yeah, I'll get to Automata when I get to it. Because I even talked about it when we did our Automata episode. Like, I bought it knowing I was going to like it.
We all did.
Like,
we all were like, we're going to like this game one day, right?
Yeah. But I let a buddy of mine borrow it right away because he outright looked at me in the face and was like, I know you're not going to play it right now. Can I just fucking borrow that from you? He was like, yeah, go ahead. So it took me like basically until the podcast to finally get around to it. But it's kind of one of those things where while I have played games in the series before, Automata was the one that made me like really fucking pay attention. Mm-hmm. Automata was where, I don't know if it's just because I finally had a mental maturity to take in a lot of what was being told in Yoko Taro's writing, or if it was just because it happened to be right place, right time. Whatever the scenario may be, when I look back at my experience with the Draconeer series, Automata is the one that I can unequivocally say hit me like without any questions, without any having to like if I have to think about myself at the time of originally playing it, there's no second guessing. Automata hit me to my fucking core. And it's a story that definitely is more of like that nebulous story of like what it means to be human, whereas Replicant is just a story about being human.
Okay, so I think you found the wording there. Replicate is what it is to be human. Automata is what it means to be human.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there.
And so that's the kind of key difference. And I think it's because of my nature, I do like a lot more of those nebulous storylines. In combination with I am a little bit of afraid to put too much newer stuff on just because of recency bias. But it's definitely one of those things that I knew one of those two games was going on this list, and today it just happened to be Nier Automata because the journey of 2B, 9S, and A2 still live on in my brain, and it's a game that I still would like everyone to experience. It resonates hard, but I also acknowledge that it hits so much harder with the weight of the franchise behind it.
So, yes, it hits harder with that, 100%. I think it does. It says a lot about Automata when it could hit you as hard as it did me as well. Me being the one with the whole newcomer to the franchise, it hit me and stuck to my top 10 list without that. And I missed a lot of the side content, right? Like I'm talking, I did not do a lot of side content. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't know this stuff. So like,
and honestly, it worked out in your favor not doing that.
Yeah, like fantastically, right? Because I had no idea about. I did not know Kanye's house was in Automata. Literally the most like what the fuck, and just the music so gorgeous, right? I think we gotta say, while again, there's some moments of Replicant that just fucking hit. I think the structure of it is tougher because it is a repetitious thing. Does that work towards the narrative? Yes, but gameplay wise, I'm sorry, it does hurt because you're doing the same thing and it's boring a little bit like on that, right? So Automata does well in spicing things up, doing newer things, giving you reasons to keep doing different things.
There's a repetition, but it feels entirely new with each repetition.
Right. And then gameplay wise for sure, like Automata wins, right? So I think there's other ways Automata does win. But with that said, I was leaning back and forth, having now put hundreds and hundreds of hours into this franchise. Automata makes you think a little bit harder. Replicant makes you feel hard. Automata makes you think a lot harder and feel hard, I think. Which I think work, right? Because Nier Automata is one of those ones where you can just dissect in video essays forever. I think there's some moments in Automata which I doubt there will ever be a video game ending that will grab me as much as Nier Automata did. And I'm talking like ending. I'm not talking not talking final cutscene. I'm not talking final level. Literal ending, right? Because it's like and like in retrospective, right? Like we're talking like a game that I loved, and I was ready to go back and do some side missions, but like I felt so distant. Like I would have ruined the moment, and there was no hesitation on my end. But like thinking back, I knew like right away. I was like, I'm not ruining this moment. Like this is a moment that Yoko Taro crafted so well to like implement into it, right? Like it's like literally the message of that, and then like the swelling of the music hitting, you gotta like seeing everyone like root you on, and like it's still like you're trying, like you're not just gonna go like, oh, I got all the help. You're literally like erasing data of people, right?
Like every meme that you see comes up to kind of help you when you're struggling with this section is like, oh, that's like actually someone saved data. Like they have deleted all their progress, all their hard work, their potentially hundreds of hours to ensure that you get to see the final point here.
I gotta do one thing, 1 minute. Talk real quick.
Yeah. And that's one of those things where, again, it's a repeating mechanic of Yoko Taro, but at the same time, it hits its peak specifically with Automata, because with Replicant, it's like slash Gestalt, yeah, you see your data get deleted, but it's definitely one of those things that with Automata, there is that world feeling to it. There is the realization that it's not just my progress that's gone. It's the fact that you know that other people have sacrificed for your progress.
But then you hear all the people with you, right? Like it's like the music
Yeah.
sounds like everyone's there with you, and like, but the song itself is not a very cheerful song, right? Like it's like,
No.
in fact, if you ever heard the Japanese version of it, the Japanese singer's like straight up crying at the end. If you ever heard that version, like she is like weeping at the end of that. That's why she sounds the way she sounds. But I did weigh that, and I think just Nier Automata just always held a torch to me. And I did not want to put Replicant because I need to sit on that for a while, like a long while.
Yeah.
But also the novelty of Automata is gone after the first time, right? So like I knew where the ending was going. I kept myself in the dark as much as I could. Like I want to watch reaction to it because I know what it is, but I don't remember exactly how. Like right, like there's a lot of stuff where I'm like I know of the moments, but how did it look exactly again? So yeah, it's a masterpiece in gaming, storytelling, and messaging. I think that's gonna be his magnum opus. I would be heartstrung to see him ever top that. Honestly, it'd be massively impressive for him to top that in terms of like commercial success and like accessibility too, right? But yeah, it's fantastic. David, I take that back. I think we have one more on the list that we might have. You wanna say the other one that you think?
Potentially. So the other one that I have on my list, I mean, there's three actually as I'm looking at it, but the other one that I think might be on your list, just from immediately saying it, and I actually just put it on my list today because, again, I was trying to think of, like, fucking what games am I going to need, like, just that level of mental reprieve after. And skipping ahead of my list a bit, I put What Remains of Edith Finch.
No, so that's not on my list, but
That's not on your list.
mm-hmm. Talk about
it. Yeah, so I put it on my list, and this is a game from a genre. We've talked about this a lot before on the podcast. I fucking hate walking simulators.
I think the character growth of you and it's you're an interesting person where you have your biases, you have an open mind, but you have an inherent bias as well. So like you will
I know myself well enough to know what I'm gonna like and probably not like.
But you're like 98%. If you say I will not like this, you would probably lose money betting against that. But this is the one that snuck past. Like this is an exception to the rule.
It is an exception to the rule.
But again, I want to say you are very open-minded to a point where you'll appreciate something. Doesn't mean you'll like it, but you'll like, I appreciate that. I understand it. I respect it, but I won't like it. And this one bucked it.
I can point out a lot of good things in something I may not like, and I'm fully willing to admit when something is good, but it just doesn't resonate with me. I've talked about that quite a bit on the podcast. Of like, I feel like I should like it. It hits hallmarks of things I feel like I should enjoy, but I just don't. And What Remains of Edith Finch was one that, again, we did for our sister podcast, Games Gone By, and I was not looking forward to it. The entire build-up to us doing it was like, I'm fucking disgusted at the idea of even having to spend money on it. And it was like, shut up, it's on Game Pass. And it's like, beautiful. And now I've spent money on it, both for getting it as an option and literally one of the sole reasons I got the Annapurna collection on Switch for $200.
Great ass collection. I'm sorry. Honestly, if it was the exact same games without Edith Finch, I would have spent the money on it. Like it's a solid collection of games, I think.
It is a very solid collection, and eventually one of these days I do want to have my partner go through Sayonara Wild Hearts.
I would love that for you. If
Because
that could
one,
be a game's gone by, I'm just saying, I'm 100% okay with that.
And I also do want to go through Kentucky Route Zero because that's again still to this day one of
We'll
the
talk
few
about that.
games where she's like, how I'm sure we will. So I'll save any further comment on that. What for specifically what remains of Edith Finch, that is so far for better or for worse become the gold standard that I hold walking simulators to.
Oh,
and
literally that is the gold standard. Firewatch is the only one that actually like to people will doesn't beat it, but will like at least step up to it. It won't beat it, but it will step up. So that's why I'm excited. I want you to play Firewatch someday just to see what you think on it. To see like, all right, let's see if you agree. I can't get a read on what you would think of it, honestly. Like part of me thinks I think you'd appreciate this story. Part of me thinks you might also think it's kind of BS. But I'm genuinely curious on that.
Yeah, based on beginner's guide, it could go either way. But what remains interesting, and I said this when we first talked about it, but it was one of those things that like going through the first couple chapters, like okay, I see where this is going. I mean, it's kind of neat, but whatever. But then you get into Barbara's story. It's like, oh, there's something really creative here. But the biggest factor of why I had to kind of put it on this list of like games where I just need a moment to kind of not after experiencing. And I've talked about this a lot. Like I don't, in the traditional sense, get immersion in video games. I'm not one that's like, oh, I need to feel like I'm a part of this world, and when it takes me out of it, like how dare it? But one of the many storylines you go through in What Remains of Edith Finch, I fell for it. 100% subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
I was right in there. As the character is going through the motions, the doldrums of their life, absentmindedly, I fell right into it myself. Because of that alone, it is an impactful game. And it is a game that I remember when my partner and I first started dating. That was also a game we kind of bonded over when we first started talking, because she's like, yeah, my friend was like, hey, I know you're going home soon, but before you head home and have your like 2.5 hour drive home, you should really play this game. And her friend made her play through What Remains of Edith Finch, and then she had a almost 3 hour long drive to just sit alone in her thoughts after. I'm like, oh, that sounds like fucking hell.
Yeah, that's why I want to make the girlfriend play, because she's still getting started. It's got some mechanics though that I think she can handle it on that.
I feel like it's a very good game to like ease you into different gameplay ideas, but especially if you just are someone that likes a good story. The stories in this game like start from like the like okay sure, but like again once you start getting into the flow of it, there's so many heartbreaking moments where again like one of the ones that I go to the most is the bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I've gone through that game, I fucking dread that moment, because even on the first playthrough, but even more so on subsequent playthroughs, I'm like, oh.
And you hate kids.
Oh. I like kids. I don't ever want any of my own that are that age. If I was to ever have children, I've said this before, adoption to where they can tell me what the fuck's wrong. Oh, you're hungry? Fine. All right, here's some food.
I could see you.
I don't ever want.
I could see you eventually, like, almost foster or adopting someone just way down the road if you were like settled in. You're like, yeah, you know what?
That's 100% where the partner and I are at. You know, we're never gonna have spawn of our own biologically. Maybe if we decide we're having that parental itch, we're gonna adopt someone that's much older that unfortunately the system wouldn't normally give the exactly someone that.
Plus, I feel like
get a chance.
I feel like you'd be a hard ass kind of parent enough to like bounce back, because a kid that's gonna be in the system like that's gonna be a tough one. Yeah. So you have to be someone with the managerial skills, and the hard ass nature to be like fuck your feelings, follow around with this, but in a decent way, right? It'll be interesting, but yeah, no, the story for that,
like
it's it's fun 'cause it connects so many places. When you start reading contextually, like you're like, okay, this makes sense. This makes sense, and it's just tragic. It's just tragic, and you feel for it. Like as time goes on, as you see that, and you kind of like look around. It's one of those games where you can look around. You're like you get more story just by looking around too, and you just create your own like vision of things. But like it's a tragic one, and yeah, the one that gets everyone I think is always the Fish Factory one, where it's just
Yeah.
like that's the one where um and it even made my students just stop. Like they were like, oh, because again contextually right, because like especially this level, like you had to kind of explain what happened, and I gave it to him brutally. I'm like, oh, this happened. And like what? I'm like, yeah, you gotta kind of shock them into that, but like it's real, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Man.
phenomenal game. I'm excited for whatever they make next. I think it's almost on the Nier Automata level where I'm like, this is probably their magnum opus. I'd be shocked if you top this. I hope you do.
Yeah.
I genuinely hope you do. I'm rooting for you guys. Uh, but man, this is a stellar game.
All right. So I mean that wasn't on there. So what's your next pick then?
Let's see. I'll go for one you don't have, and I'll make this one a lot more quick because I want to get through some more. Uh, I had to pick a Smash. On any day,
There.
I go between Ultimate and Melee. Lately I've been leaning more Melee, just because there's moments in Ultimate, especially with some of the DLC, that I'm like it just kind of takes the fun out of it, and there's something magical about a community of gamers still rocking out playing Melee. Like it is, they describe themselves as the cockroaches of the FGC, not FGC, but like esports almost. Like you will never get rid of them. Nintendo can try, no matter how hard they try. They could try everything. They will literally never get rid of them. The way Mango, my favorite Melee player, says it. Nintendo, you could take away my system, you could take away my tournaments, you take away my controller. Doesn't fucking matter. I'm still playing Melee in my head. It will never end. Does not matter. Fuck you guys. I'll always be playing Melee. And it's just it's crazy that you would think this game that is what now 23 years old, uh
It's old enough to drink.
22, 23 years old, it you would think like the game has been mastered at this point. Dude, if you look at the competitive scene from like even just from now to like 2 years ago, it's not. It is continuously,
Yeah.
continuously evolving. It is fucking nuts. And uh you've seen it like even at Evo level with the hype around a Melee match that just like goes off is
It's
unreal.
absurd.
It's unreal, right? Like it's
And the global level of hype. That's the other key thing. The global level of hype.
there are just like I saw there's some really good Melee documentary videos. All by the way, if anyone on here or even David, if you guys ever get bored, uh, turn up for Walt. I think his name is has some great videos just like highlighting specific moments or ideas of Melee that are just fucking really well done. So and they're like 20 minutes a piece. So if you get bored, highly recommend them. But there's one video. I think it's called like the greatest match of Melee that ever happened. And I saw the thumbnail and I was like, I immediately agree because I watched that live and my mind was just getting blown. And it gives like a shot. I love it just how passionate the community is, right? It's like they give a whole history as to why the match was important. They show you the match inside and tell you every single moment, like, hey, this player did this. That's where they messed up. And that's what cost them this. And this is what happened. And then they break that down. Then it gets to the moment that I know. And let me just describe it. So let me go Melee geek here because this is be really all it because I can't really talk more about Melee. But so the Star Fox characters, right? They got the up B where they do that little fire jump, right? Okay.
Yep.
Melee is faster. It's if you play game Melee, you would think by watching all these pro players, oh, it must be slippery, smooth, like all that. No, it is like very clunky and hard to move around. But many players have refined their craft so much that it looks just really fast and quick. If you're playing for the first time, you're gonna get your ass smoked, like no doubt. So you're playing this game, right? The Mango, the player I was talking about, versus Leffen, who was like like one of like almost like the villain.
Yeah, even I know
Yeah.
vaguely of Leffen.
Yeah, you saw us pop off when he lost.
Yeah.
So they were playing. Leffen had it locked. It was 2-1. Leffen had it locked. He hit him, and then there's something called free fall where if like a character gets so much damage, then we locked it and stuff. And then Melee has a lot of free fall. That's why there's a lot more combos in those kind of games versus like Smash Ultimate. Falco is in free fall. He's angled. He's arced up this way. He's about to land. Fox is lining up for the up smash. He's ready. Like literally, 99 point infinite number of 9% of people on this planet ever playing a game would have died to that. Like everyone thought it was over. Like, all right, it's done. It's over. I don't know like what madness you have in your head, but like he was about to get hit, and that's it. But when you up B is as a Star Fox character, you stop all your momentum. So he straight up like was about to get hit, up B, flew into him, bounced, ricocheted, avoided it, turned everything around, and won that, and then went to another hype. Like he fought from behind. Both it's just like I can describe all these matches to you in like a crazy amount of precision. It's just so cool. I think Melee having the prestige is kind of what's gonna win it out. So if Ultimate lives out, I think it's always gonna be something special. Smash 4 though like doesn't live on this list for me, even though like I made my best friend off theirs. I made a bunch of friends off there.
Wow.
You don't hang out with me enough. No, but like I mean like I've traveled probably hundreds of hours like driving around everywhere. I've traveled states. I've done all this. But it doesn't live on that, right? It's like what I was saying at the beginning of this. Like those games that you play forever doesn't really don't land, but it is what it is. Melee, I think, just has there's some beautiful chaos. It's like Halo 2. Halo 2 was like glitchy. You do BXR, you melee with B, cancel your animation with X, hit him with the R. So like it's like a really quick like that. But that's something you learn. It's like L canceling. It's like wave dashing. Like there's like a beautiful chaos to these complicated games. That I appreciate people just honing in on. So Melee's on there. David, hit me with another one.
All right, I'll make this one quick, just because again, I knew I had to have some representative of the genre because fighting games are one of my favorite genres. And when trying to decide which one to represent the genre, I changed it like every few hours. But ultimately, I decided on Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The reason I decided that one is just because when I think of games that I would easily go back to, or games that I still like to really enjoy watching competitive footage for, UMVC 3 is one that, aside from Crush G, I really enjoy watching competitive matches for, and seeing the creativity for the community, for the different teams, some of the most insane, bizarre regional influences that have come out. We had a representative from Mexico get top 8 with a fucking MODOK team, which was fucking wild one year. Apology Man almost won it with a fucking Super Skrull team one year. Kane Blue Rivers, big beefy bodies, just being basically the tail end of it, like Pharaoh with Phoenix Wright. There's just so many fascinating character specialists in that series that to just watch it is infinitely enjoyable and just so much fun. And even going back and playing, it's one of the ones that when I'm trying to educate friends of mine that are casuals in fighting games, it's my go-to for tag fighters. It really is. Between the Magic series, it's very simple to get some base level combo understanding, but truly it is just a fantastic, enjoyable game that I'm always happy to go back to, whether it's playing or watching.
I think Marvel not far from community wise from like Smash, where they just won't let go of that game, and I appreciate them for they were like, you won't give us another one of these, fuck it, we'll keep it going. Like, does not matter. When's Marvel forever?
I'm still so sad that COVID robbed us of a Marvel 2 tournament.
We'll get it eventually, I'm sure.
I truly hope one day we get proper Marvel 2 again, but
right.
That is what I most of all will never forgive COVID for, was not getting our fucking Marvel 2 tournament.
So, let's see on this list. I'm jumping around now. I started with my number one by jumping around now. I'm gonna just talk about it real quick. I think Kentucky Route Zero is just always gonna be on my list. It creeps up. It shows its reared its ugly head every now and then and be like, hey, what's up? breaks my heart that I can't. It was complicated. I'm like, I don't know how to sell this to you. I think if we read, we revisit, and I think if you probably see it with your partner's whole perspective of that, maybe their whole taking of that in might lead you down a different idea of that. But I was talking the girlfriend about this recently. I'm like, it's just I feel like I went through the wrong thing as an English major. I don't know why I fell into the early English, middle English stuff. I didn't really care about that. I think I really resonate with like American literature and like just the hopelessness of it, the direness of it, really just like the struggle of like having to survive. Um, that still bubbles up in today's world. And
Yeah.
I think Kentucky Route Zero tells a very American story. And it sucks when you that the connotation of that sucks, right? When you say it in just the context of like America, right? But like I mean like an actual American story. The struggles that of work, of money, of befriending people, of losing people, of going down this mysterious route to do your job and getting lost. And like in the moment, no game has made me cry still. No game has done that. Unfortunately, right? Maybe in hindsight, I come back to it, yeah. But in the moment, I'm still a stoic motherfucker. Apparently, like I'll get emotional. Don't get me wrong, obviously, but like nothing has cracked me. It's funny that you get cracked before me, right? But like
Yeah, I was like,
you're shaking your
this
head. That's why
motherfucker. I will gladly admit I've had games crack
only
me.
two movies
And Nier
ever got me.
Automata and Edith Finch were definitely games that fucking cracked me.
Only two movies ever got me too. So it's like nothing really gets me. But at least on first time too, I guess, right? Because maybe in hindsight, but like the fact that like and when you put together like and I didn't deal with it, but when you imagine the weight of it too, right? Like the weight that people wait for Kentucky Route Zero to go through all that time, and we're gonna replay it eventually. This is gonna be one of those games got by repeats, obviously, right? Because
Yeah.
but losing yourself to the work and becoming a skeleton, right? Like you lose Conway that way, and then depending on what your choice is, Blue shoutouts just like doesn't leave your side, which that gut punches me too,
That's
right?
like the only decision that has weight to it, and goddamn,
And
it
it
does have some
hurts. Like
fucking weight to it.
that is a thing, and that is a very very prompt like that. You've worked yourself like that again. Like it's an American story. It's the most like American styled story you can have, and like your side by side companion from the very beginning, the first thing you did name, which is always gonna be Blue. Do not name it anything else. They are Blue. You go through, yeah. White Steinbeck is so good. You know what's fucking fun? I'm gonna say something in a second after this. I need to give him a moment first. Can't redirect. I'm gonna write that down real quick because I will. I've been doing that now. So when you then you just like your dog, and then like they leave with you, and then you're going on though. There's a whole other act. The act is only one gameplay thing, but like it was something when you finally get there, you're exploring this place, you're delivering the message for it for the character, right? You're like, all right, we're gonna go on without you. We're gonna do this, and you're reading about this flooded town and the hope that they had, right? And then you get to the horses, the neighbors, which is funny, it's a pun, but like this flood that came through and just destroyed the town that's kind of giving it life, just destroyed the neighbors. And I don't know, dude. Like I'm getting choked up on it. Like literally, I don't know what it is. All that story combined, hitting into, I'll never. It's the closest it's ever got, dude. Like the literal fucking closest. And I get mad at myself for not letting it happen, but just did not. But it's so close. I'm not sure if it'll beat it. Maybe I hope one day it does, right? But like all that culminating to like everyone looking down, and then just like, I'm gonna get the quote wrong. Hold on. I'm gonna get the quote wrong. I do not want to get the quote wrong.
While you're
It,
looking that up,
yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say it's one of those things where, and I've mentioned this before, but truly, this is an example of like where I know it's just not for me, but I won't take away how poignant it can be for others. Out of all the years that I've been with my partner now for 4 years now, and she's been along for the journey. I mean, that was one of the first things I was like, "Hey, I got a podcast if you want to listen to my dork ass talk about shit." And so she's been kind of ride or die for a lot of our episodes. You know, she doesn't listen to all of them, but you know, she listens in once in a while. And by extension, whenever we do Games Gone By, she's watched me play a lot of the games. To this day, Kentucky Route Zero is the only game where she walked out of the room because within the first hour of the game, she's like, I don't want to ruin this experience for myself. I know I want to go through this on my own. That to me, in all the years that we have done this podcast and that I've been with my partner, to have her walk out of the room because she was so afraid of having anything else spoiled for her own potential journey through it, I know there's something special there.
I think
I know it just didn't resonate with me because
I'm gonna
how
reapproach
it was presented. But
I think I'm gonna reapproach it. We'll see, because I can sell you. I can even tell just the way you're listening, because I know who I am. But and then I forgot to mention, even like up until this line, you get to craft your own poem. And again, you know, I get that the thing contextually, the choices you make are literally internal choices. They're you're crafting your own story and make it out of, which is not something you're into. It's something that resonates with me because I will make my own story. That's fine. I'll create my own characters, even if they don't do that internally. These characters are still my characters, and they're dealing with their own internal struggles. But like stuff like that, you create a poem. Does it matter? Absolutely not. But like you're crafting a poem, and it's cool seeing other Let's Players play it. Some people like are just like down. They just feel like they just write something kind of dour. The one I like watching adds like mystery, sadness, but a little hope at the end. And like, but you do that, and then like the line that almost gets, again, like all this culmination happening, your friends are continuing the journey without you, and then just black screen. Then we buried the horses. Cut back, you see the grave there. They start singing "I'm Going That Way," which again, I'm not religious, but like it's a church song, right? But like it's kind of like "Way of the World," actually. Now that I think about it, right, where they're singing it, the shadows. It's like the ones that get me, right? Too. It's like Coco got me. There's just skeletons at the end, fucking singing "Remember Me." Fuck you. That's what got me. Fuck that. That was the first one that ever got me ever. I'm so mad about that.
Fucking A, that's such a fucking poignant film.
That got me. That got me. I'm so mad about it. I was on a first date that night. So and then, but like you get all the shadows of the people that passed, all the people that passed, doing their work and living the life of the American dream, which is you're part of the cog of the machine. And they're all coming in here, and everyone's paying homage to the horses. And like you hear the swelling of everyone singing alongside you, like "Way to the World," right? And then at the end, they slowly disappear away, and it's back to you guys. And then you guys walk off to the other side. You guys deliver the package. Cut. And I'm like, damn, dude. And I know people, and I feel like I don't know how I'm mixed feelings. I'm like, if I waited, that'd be tough. Doing it that like it was so poignant, but like I could tell if you waited, because that last ending, that last act took them like years, and it's shorter, so it's like what the fuck happened. But it's like you have to nail the ending. Like there's that must have been the most like daunting thing ever, right?
Excruciating way.
I would hate to do it.
Like, I honestly probably would have hated the game if I had to wait for each segment.
And episodic stuff is just daunting, right? Because you have this like expectations, and like you have to nail it. So. Yeah. But like they nailed it for me. Like that was like the closest I almost just broke down. Like it was like on the edge, there's the precipice of just like Avery says, I'm guessing y'all talk about Nier? Nah, but we did, but it gets me just the same way. It's just the precipice, and like just and it's just cool that like your friends helped you do that. Everyone's there with you. Not a happy ending, but it's an ending. Next chapter's going on.
Yeah, I look forward to when my partner goes through the game finally, and I think she's been looking for something new to kind of play, and I keep gently reminding her that we have the Annapurna collection now.
If she tell me
right
like
now she's actually going.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say right now she's actually going through a little to the left because that's.
I'm literally making. They hate it though.
Oh yeah, she's loving it, but she's hating it. There's certain puzzles she's like, I don't fucking understand what they want me to
I
do.
get handed
And
this.
I'm
I
even
get
looking at
handed
it
the
like,
Switch, being asked, "I'm doing this right." I'm like, no, I think it's this way. Um, if she like just says like, all right, I'm gonna play that, you tell me because I'm like, I will sidetrack and go into that. Um,
yeah, I think once she's had her fill of that, she's probably gonna do because Slime Rancher 2 got a lot of new updates. I think her and I are both gonna do those updates. But then I think after that, she might be in the mood. I don't know. She keeps talking about doing another Fable run for the 90th time. But I know that's one that I keep gently pushing her towards again.
see, every time I talk about that, like it just gets me. It's the one that it's weird. It's the only one out of all of them. Like there is a foreseeable world where this creeps up into top three and tops everything else, just because like how I talk about it. Yeah, I gush about everything else, but it doesn't make me choke up, which is weird, right? But like, there's just something about the story just being so connected, and I think just because I relate to it, it doesn't. It's not a very like, oh, I can relate to it as a person. It's like it hits me just on a different level of like experience. Um,
It doesn't let go is the thing. Like as much as like I didn't resonate with it as much as many other people did, I can remember still most of the events of that game, and not just like the key
and it's
moments,
gorgeous.
but like even the little details. I can still remember very vividly the character interactions and the exploration on the map, and there's a lot that still sticks with me. And that's for a game that I'm like, yeah, it was fine, but it wasn't my kind of game. Like and even some games that I would consider that I enjoy far more, I don't remember in as vivid detail as I remember that game.
I wonder too, because Kentucky Road Zero was one of the very few times in my life that I had to pull the rainy day fund. Uh, which, just to clarify, my rainy day fund is the games that I'm like, if I am in a bad spot, like if I'm like, this is not a good moment for me, I need to pull on something that I know I'm gonna like. I've always known I was gonna like. I played through Act One, and I was like, oh, I played through Act One when it first came out. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait. Didn't know I was gonna wait 7 years, but I was like, cool, I'm gonna wait. And then yeah, I just knew, and then yeah, just everything clicked on it, and I sat for my computer, kind of zoned out, and it was amazing. Uh, how far are you on the list? Yeah, Cal's answered like 3 or 4 deep. Uh,
Yeah, like Forest Deep.
I'm gonna David. Oh, so why don't we pick? If I told you pick one more and then we come back to the next 5 next week, how do you feel?
I mean, I can speed run a couple more of mine real quick.
I kind of want you to talk though. I
Uh,
want us to talk. I like these talks.
all right. Well, are we picking one more that we're kind of speed running, or are we picking one more that has
No,
some
one
weight
more.
to it?
One more, just the way you feel it. No speed runs.
Oh,
I don't want
fuck.
you to speed. That's the thing. I don't. that's the whole point about this. If we're gonna go long, that's why I'm gonna cut it. And we'll do the next half next week.
Let me quickly cross over what I've already covered here. Done that one. Done that. And then, all right, so one more. Yeah, I think that's fair. One more, and then basically half now, half later.
Mhm.
All right. I want you to go because I'm kind of struggling on which one to pick.
All right. So we mentioned this earlier, and I feel like you probably knew it might have been on my list. The beginner's guide. We had our games gone by
Yeah.
on it. I mentioned it on the games gone by. If you want like a full on in depth conversation about that, and you'll hear my full thoughts, please go find that. If you can't find it because of stuff, I have the podcast and it will go up. It is sitting ready for me to edit and fix. But to ring a long story into short. And you know what? Hey, yeah, in chat, actually good call. Cause I've been making lists. I've been making lists while listening, and it's really tough. I have like a solid 5 nailed down, I think. Hey, if y'all have lists too, let's save those. So make your 5
Yeah.
next week, and we'll come back with it. That's good. The beginner's guide is such a poignant internal story. It's hard for me to find words for how much of an internal struggle it is to be creative, to feel like you have a pressure on yourself in general, just to always top yourself and continue forward. Man, I picked a lot of the heavy ones to talk about for FAF. But it's just, and that was the fun part because I remember I didn't know how you'd feel because I know you're a creative. I don't know to what level, and I was curious if this would hit you or not. It didn't hit you. Um, but also I think we walked around it two separate ways as well, which again,
Yeah.
like it's if we lived near each other and we were able to like games gone like a co-op like single player thing like that, like on like a those like almost like Game Grumps style, right? Like where you're just sitting together playing a game.
Yeah.
I feel like our conversation would be slightly different. We probably meshed like I'm sure like Barclays would have hit me, right? Like you would have been like following like here's what's happening, here's what's funny with it. Same thing with these. Like I would have probably got you along a lot more in line of things if we were sitting there playing it live together.
And I'll admit, that probably could be a good point with it, because this is something that happened. We talked about it during Beginner's Guide, but we really hammered in on it a lot when we talked about Her Story, which ironically was my pick, if I remember correctly. Where it's kind of one of those things where, again, as I mentioned, I tend to play through a lot of these games with my partner, kind of just either in the room casually watching, or she's like, no, let's go through this journey together. And through some of the negative journeys that I experienced, it definitely is like I will turn to her and be like, so I'm not alone in thinking X, right? And she's like, no, I'm kind of in that same, and then it kind of becomes like a self-feeding cycle where it's like if we're both already kind of feeling it's really hard to get back out of it. And I can see the argument where, especially in the case of Beginner's Guide, if it was done explicitly immediately from the perspective of someone that's like, okay, let me take you on this journey and explain why it's kind of interesting, it would have involved the dynamic in a much more interesting way. Whereas my experience with it was like, okay, this is kind of neat. Oh, we're doing this creative trope, except it's, I don't know, kind of lazy-ish almost. And then, especially as the narration gets so self-deprecating, everything, and then turning to my partner, and we're both looking like, this is kind of pathetic, right? Yeah, all right, we're both agreeing this is kind
So
of pathetic.
I've come to the epiphany right now that I'm like, I feel like if I'm gonna throw in a big heavy hitter on my end, which I don't know how many more I'd have, that we'd go like maybe Firewatch at this point maybe, but uh, I probably do need to give you like a behind the book spiel, like because I don't like that. I'm not see that's why I never did. Is I don't like that. I want to go as blind as possible. And that's the
Yeah.
best way I'll go about it. I feel like you probably would prefer like a give me like the super Spark Notes
You mean
version.
the hyped up elevator pitch?
So yeah, there you go. The elevator pitch of it, and sell me on that because I feel like because here's the thing that's frustrating to me. It makes me feel good, but also very frustrating to me is like I'll ask you for your opinion and you'll give a fair opinion. Like I understand why you feel these ways. Then I'll say what I'm thinking, and I can see the gears in your head, and you're looking around. You're like, okay, I could see it that way. Like I could see. All right, you know what? I should have approached it that like I can see those things. So it's like okay, maybe if I had done that at the beginning, it's like Sacred Zero for sure, right? If I had done that in
Yeah.
the beginning, then I feel like maybe things would have taken a different turn. You have seen it differently, right? The Beginner's Guide, I'm scared to do that. Just 'cause I did want your most genuine because I wasn't sure how it would be because it's just really just like that loss of things and just like everything piling down. I see while it comes off cringy and pathetic on your end, it comes off brutal because it's like that's yourself talking and that's like not an uncommon thing to have said and like there's a visceralness of the line. I feel physically ill when I see you, like stuff like that. And I don't know, I feel physically ill, and I forget what the ending part is. So I might not be saying that correctly, but like those kind of lines, like I need you to stop talking to me. I like it. Those kind of like it just hits because like it really just falls out and like it's that determination for meaning. Like I need to add something. I need to add something. I need to make this meaning. Like why is it not like you can't do things for fun? It has to have meaning. It has to have meaning. Which actually upsets me, right? Because it's funny because I'm going through that right now with my own students. I was telling my coworker, I'm like, The dream is to win at the film fest and win esports both year. I want first places, 2 first place in 1 year. That's my dream. Let's knock it. But I was like, and I'm looking at the films that the kids submitted, and I'm like, we're not gonna win. They're proud of their films. I fucking love that, and that's ultimately what I want. I want you to be proud of it. Selfishly, do I want to win? Of course, but we're not gonna win. Why? Because they're not Oscar bait. Because I heard them when they were talking, because they had to disqualify one of my films, which was fair. I understood why, but they said, yeah, it was like it didn't qualify because it broke this rule, and there's really no meaning to it. There's no like, what's the messaging behind it? And in my head, I'm like, okay, I know what you're looking for, but like, it's like that, right? Where you're like, the film I'm most proud of, which I'm gonna send to you soon. Whenever after the film fest, I'm gonna send it to you. There's one I'm most proud of. I think you would like the other one actually because it's funny because they got really argy with it and they did really well. So you actually really appreciate that one. I had high expectations for them going forward because they're the advanced students. So like the students that weren't the advanced ones that did this film, I'm more proud of just because I'm like, and they know I'm like, I'm not trying to say anything bad. I think you guys killed it. I'm proud of them because like I had no expectations for them, right? But
Yeah.
like that alone, I'm like, they're not gonna win because it doesn't mean anything. But like, why does it everything have to have? It's funny that we say this and like in all this, our favorite works have all this meaning, right? But like, it's exhausting too. It's like, why is there so much emphasis on this and it's self creation? We have to meaning. You go into a fucking room full of just dialogue boxes, all unique, that the mass majority of players will walk through because it's annoying and dumb. And why would you ever do that? And what's the point of it? But that is adding meaning. Like that is like, I need to add meaning to this. I need to have a reason for you to do this, but it doesn't matter. It's like this back and forth struggle of like, do this.
Again,
It's stupid. Do
some
this.
Cruel
Stop.
irony. Some of the cruelest irony, if you explain that, is like some of the most irreverent '80s movies, like Breakfast Club. No real meaning. It's just character study of just, I don't know, fucking put the fucking camera lens on youth of the era, and that's it. Like, there's no real meaning. It's just character study of these fucking teenage archetypes going through life. And it's like, nah, brilliant cinema. Fucking beautiful. 11 out of 10.
Right. And but when you hit a certain amount of success, right? And that's the scary part, is success. When you hit a certain success, you can't be worse. You have to do better. You have to do better. You have to do better. If you ever just like as a teacher, if I have a worst year this year, it makes me feel terrible. I have to progress. It's like it's just an internal struggle of just like that, but then adapting it to creativity, which is something I'm very big on. I love writing and doing all this. I'm always daydreaming. I'm always creating these things. Like I'm always doing this. And it's like I had a fucking lamppost to signify a fucking ending. And at the end, you're like, that's future me sabotaging past me because I have to have this irrelevant shit. It doesn't fucking matter. And it's just, like, again, like it gets superficial, but it's like it's just a back and forth clash of just it's a duality of just like fighting and like it really battles it out and I love it just the way it really does and way and that's the first that's the first game that ever like hit me at the end where I'm like I just had to sit there and just soak it in. I was like I gotta stop. I gotta think about this one. Never a game did that before me, but that was the one where I'm like, all right, that was some heavy shit. But
well,
hindsight,
I guess
I wish I could turn back time and talk about that stuff, but I get it.
And to be fair, I'll admit I know that my creative journey and a lot of my stuff is also kind of different in the sense of like and I've alluded to it a little bit on the podcast. I've talked about it more so kind of off podcast, but like I've lived the vast majority of my life based on anger and spite. Anger and spite have been the predominant factors of how I've gotten to where I am. And it's kind of one of those things where I know that jaded me to a lot more of like this self-depreciating, like, I can't do this. Like, I still have a respect for it. I get where it's coming from. But when that's like one of the core tenets and messages, like, fucking grow up. Like,
I see. It's so funny. It's so funny you say that because like the flip side is like I see you do these projects and like I see you stop the projects, and in my mind I'm like, And I'm not saying this, right? But like you think about it in the
Yeah.
context of like the beginner's guide, it's like that means you weren't good enough. You couldn't finish it.
Yeah, and I'll pretty much fuck. I didn't have the passion for it to fucking get it, or I didn't have the resources. Fuck it, move it on.
But you don't move on though. That's the thing is you still want that, and you still kind of come back. You're always you're always trying to produce something and fill
I
that.
would skip a graveyard of everything. You never know when you might need to pull back from the graveyard of past
Yeah, but like
ideas.
you know what I mean. Like we both have that thing, and that's why.
Yeah,
And it's funny because like going in that journey of like trying and like thinking about making content creation and stuff like that. It's like that's a battle I deal with, but I don't know. It's
yeah.
it's such a fascinating one. But yeah, I
That's entirely fair. That's
you know what if
I
there's
can't
if
ever take away someone's experience with that 100%. So
and
I
seeing
will
as it,
phrase
and it
that
was
way.
also an hour and a half ish. I think I would almost someday if there's ever like some time where we just like spend that time we're able to do like the content. Like I would want almost want to like live play you through that and kind of just walk you through because that is a very meaningful game. It's short one enough that I feel like we didn't waste time. Um, we'll see. Wouldn't never say never.
Play your
David,
cards right.
hit us with your last one.
All right. You know what? Fuck it. Let's also go through some emotional damage for my last one. I knew I was gonna put some kind of visual novel on here, just because ever since Doki Doki Literature Club, I've taken the genres seriously, and the one I decided to put on here is The House in Fata Morgana.
David,
Uh,
I've been so close. I didn't mention on the podcast because it's dumb and in a funny, embarrassing way. Not really. I give a shit, right? But I was telling David that I've been playing some dumbass games lately, just because I need to cleanse my
hell
brain
yeah.
from the heaviness, right? So I need to go for the opposites. I'm playing really shitty. And I should say shitty actually. Like there's I understand, but I should say I'm playing some nonsensical.
The equivalent of a popcorn film, but for a video game.
Right. I'm just trying to cleanse. It's like almost like watching Fast and Furious after watching like Dune, right? You're like, all right, I need to just erase the brain for a little bit. And that's what I've been doing. But like, I've been in a visual. I've been one of two routes, David. I'm either starting a visual novel or I'm starting Yakuza. One of them, both of them are like are tickling at me right now, and I'm probably gonna do Yakuza because I have to. Um, but they've both been like just at razor's edge right now of being started up and like committed to. Like I've been in that mood. So, but you're saying this, and Night of Infinite Morgana's like one. I have the fucking. I still have the. Yeah, there it is. It's actually right next to. It's right in between the green thing and that thing. That's my collection of Fata Morgana.
Hell yeah. I have it on every platform it's out for. I'm just missing the physical PC copy, but of course I have it digitally. However, that is a game that is best played on the console ports because the console ports have additional content the PC version doesn't have. Because I don't know
Can't you community
why
mod
they
it?
haven't. It hasn't been modded in either. I don't know why.
It's weird.
But for whatever reason, the developers just haven't put a lot of the content that's in the console versions backwards into the game.
Hmm.
But it is definitely a situation where The House in Fata Morgana is a story I absolutely adore. It's one of the few instances where, if you go and check the podcast that my partner and I do, Pocket Trainwreck, we have 3 episodes dedicated to it. She did not enjoy the game to the same extent that I do. But it's also one of those things, I can see why some people may not like it. Having gone through it with another person as opposed to just binging through it myself, I can definitely see where the game can get repetitive at times, especially if you're playing it straight through. But it is one of those things that I feel like at the core of its story, it's such an emotionally soul-crushing fucking story that is.
Yeah, I gotta do Yakuza because I don't know how much more mental capacity I have to start to vent out to.
Yeah,
to
no,
more of this.
I would say if you're in that mood where you need a palate cleanser, start Yakuza 0 and then let me know when you do so I can also start having my partner go through it so we can go through that for Games Gone By because that is one of our Games Gone By games for this year. But it is one of those things where, much in the same vein as What Remains of Edith Finch, it is just that same level of soul crushing, but where Edith Finch is a very brisk like hour and a half, you kind of barely notice the time that goes by. It's that same level of soul crushing for 40 hours that you're reading through this story, and you're going through not just like a again like Edith Finch, you're basically going through so many different characters and their own narrative journeys, but unlike Edith Finch, they all ultimately coalesce together. There's an ultimate through line that brings the entire narrative together. And even to the very end, when you get to the final journey, when you've gone through the main story, you've gone through the prologue journey, you've gone through the epilogue journey, even going through all that, by the entire story's end, you're still left with this feeling of like, this doesn't end well for some of the characters.
Can
For all these people we spent like an eternity with, we know definitively this can't end well for some of these people, and it's such an emotional journey. It is also a phenomenal journey of representation. There is a lot of different diverse character dynamics explored that are not explored a lot in other media. And it's also a fascinating case where even the original developers of the game actually recommend the English translation as the main means to play the game. A lot of people got really uppity. I don't know fucking what it is with modern fandom. It's fucking dumb and I hate it. But we've entered this weird age where if things are not literally translated, people get up in arms. People hate any kind of concept of actual localization, and it's fucking weird to me that people want things just machine translated but not actually localized to have the context and the prose make sense in the language it's coming out in. But the developers have actually like outright said against a lot of people that were angry about the floweriness of the English translation. Be like, no, the English language actually better captures exactly what we're trying to fucking say with this game. So if you understand English, go fucking play that version. Even if you understand Japanese, if you also understand English, fucking ignore the Japanese version. Go play that. That better captures exactly what we're trying to convey. Granted, it's also helped by, despite the fact that it is a Japanese game, it's so multicultural in its concept. Most of the music is Portuguese with a little bit of Italian and French. And the art style is very much that kind of medieval English with like a tinge of an anime to it. It's so distinct and fucking just go ahead.
Kels, they unironically want the all your base meme.
Yeah, they quite literally unironically want the all your base meme.
If everybody says I need to finish Yakuza 0, my friends are begging me to go for it. Just everything's gone by.
Yakuza 0's fucking heat.
So I know that you I can tell your trend of just liking things is stuff that ends but doesn't really end because that's realistic, right? It's not nothing. There's no real such thing as the hero's ending, right? There's always gonna be a gray ending, and those ones like speak the most because that's how life is. But I'm gonna ask you a question. This is the last thing I want to end on for this game, and then we'll wrap up this podcast. If you had to pick a moment within the Nier franchise that, and I mean a moment, not like saying like a whole thing, but like a moment that kind of best encapsulates what Fate of Morgana's angle is, what would you say? I don't like spoilers, but like you had to pick like a moment of like, all right, that part kind of falls in line to where that game kind of goes. David's thinking for audio listeners out there.
Okay, so towards the end of Automata, when 9S is confronting the red entity.
Okay.
And like there's the massive revelation of like, oh, this is a cycle.
Okay. Say less.
That's all I'll say.
Okay. So that's our 5. We'll come back next week with 5 more. We'd love everyone else out there if y'all want to bring in some 5s, talk about that with us. I actually don't even mind. You know what? Because we didn't talk about news, and I don't give a shit. That's fine.
Yeah, there wasn't like much that's like earth
Aside
shattering
from
that's
Bungie
going
getting
on.
flamed. Uh,
Bungie getting flamed, the PS5 Pro shit, whatever.
I actually don't mind because you have a large list, I imagine, right?
I mean, I again, I have like 50 some odd games
I
that
think
on
it
any
might be
given
fun
day
for
I
us to
can.
kind of do this like in a rotation of 5 games every now and then.
Yeah, that's fair.
'Cause that was a good talk.
Agreed.
All right. With that said, we're gonna start dipping out. David and I will talk for a second after this, but chat,
Hell yeah.
podcast. David, send the podcast out.
Always bet a black and fuck the police.
All right, stream. See y'all.